The divine sword is invincible. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 301. The final battle arrives. The news that Yang Xiaoshan threatened to defeat Wei Zhongyuan in half a move quickly spread due to Wei Zhongyuan's intentional publicity. On a mountain peak somewhere in Xianzang Academy, a young man in a green robe heard the news and shook his head and smiled. This little guy is even more arrogant than I was back then. The young man in the green robe was the Green Lotus Sword God. He also came to Xianzang Academy today. This little guy should be able to condense a 100,000-year soul ring. The Green Lotus Sword God was full of expectations. No one in Kangshen continent can condense a 100,000-year soul ring now. Maybe Yang Xiaoshan, this little guy, can. This is also the purpose of his coming to watch the battle this time. Yang Xiaoshan's stone tablet talent test was 7,321, which gave him a surprise. I hope this little guy can surprise him again tomorrow. After Wei Zhongyuan left, Yang Xiaoshan arrived at Teohua Peak. Mu Yunshan was extremely surprised by Yang Xiaoshan's arrival, twisting her around, but to make tea for Yang Xiaoshan. The tea was very fragrant. She was very beautiful. Yang Xiaoshan asked about the broken True God spaceship. When Mu Yunshan heard Yang Xiaoshan asking about the True God spaceship, she did not hide it and said, "Our Mu family does have a broken True God spaceship, which was found by our Mu family ancestor from the land of the demon god. It is now in our Mu family treasure house." Yang Xiaoshan was relieved when he heard this. Mu Yunshan said that, as long as he cured her grandfather's strange cold poison, he could let her choose 3 treasures. After getting the result, Yang Xiaoshan did not stay for long and stood up to say goodbye. Mu Yunshan was very surprised to see Yang Xiaoshan leave so quickly and said with a charming look, "Brother, it's rare for you to come to Teohua Peak. Otherwise, stay overnight at Teohua Peak tonight and let your sister treat you well." Yang Xiaoshan glanced at Mu Yunshan's charming curves and said, "I'll treat you later." Then he left quickly with the devil ancestor Mishan. Mu Yunshan saw that Yang Xiaoshan's ears were red, and he laughed like a bell. After leaving Teohua Peak, Yang Xiaoshan returned to Yaowang Peak and practiced Tangshan sword technique in the yard. These days, he has practiced the Tangshan sword technique to the 44th move. There are only 5 moves left to practice the Tangshan sword technique completely. Tangshan Divine Sect. Yang Xiaoshan said to himself. He has learned that the branch of Tangshan Divine Sect is in Zhongzhou of the Foyuan Empire. When he has practiced the Tangshan sword technique completely, he will go to Zhongzhou. After practicing the Tangshan sword technique for a while, it was already dark. Yang Xiaoshan asked Yaoding if there was any way to let him enter the Xianzang mountain. Now, he has condensed a 1,000,000-year soul ring and can open the second palace of the Kangshen cave mansion. "I can take you in," Yaoding said, "but you need a mouthful of 9-layer heavenly tribulation thunder water." Yang Xiaoshan was speechless when he heard it. Uncle Ding was clearly taking advantage of the fire. However, for the sake of the Kangshen sword and the Kangshen sword technique, Yang Xiaoshan still used a mouthful of 9-layer heavenly tribulation thunder water and let Yaoding take him into the Xianzang mountain. After entering the Xianzang mountain, Yang Xiaoshan passed through the Xianshan sword formation and opened the Kangshen cave mansion again. When he arrived at the gate of the second palace, he used the power of the divine golden elixir and the 1,000,000-year soul ring to open the gate of the second palace. After finding the Kangshan sword and the Kangshan sword technique, Yang Xiaoshan did not look through the Kangshan sword technique, but came to the innate sword formation outside to comprehend the billions of sword ki of the innate sword formation. These days, he has been practicing swordsmanship hard, and he is getting closer and closer to the condensation of the 9th sword heart. Today, he will use the billions of sword ki of the innate sword formation to break through that threshold, condensing the 9th sword heart in one fell swoop. This is also the purpose of him asking Yaoding to take him into the Xianzang mountain today. He not only wants to get the Kangshan sword and the Kangshan sword technique, he also wants to condense the 9th sword heart before tomorrow's decisive battle. Yang Xiaoshan sat cross-legged in the innate sword formation, facing the sea of billions of sword ki, and the sword ki in his body gradually surged and became stronger and stronger. The sword hearts in his body were awakened one by one. 1, 2, 3, and soon, the 8th sword heart was all awakened. The 9th sword heart was looming, but this time was different from the last time. When the 9th sword heart appeared, the sword light was bright and ready to come out. As time went by, the 9th sword heart became more and more stable, and the sword light became stronger and stronger. But, suddenly, the 9th sword heart was completely solidified. When the 9th sword heart was completely solidified, Yang Zai Ocean's 9 sword hearts burst out with extremely bright sword light. Affected by the sword light of Yang Zai Ocean's 9 sword hearts, the billions of sword energy of the innate sword formation actually rioted, like a raging sea, and the sword energy of the entire Xianzang mountain was rioting. However, at this time, Xianzang mountain was shrouded by the formation, and no one noticed that Xianzang mountain was abnormal. Just when Yang Zai Ocean condensed the 9th sword heart, the sky was already bright. The red sun rose. The sky and the earth became bright. At the top of the Xianzang Academy, Wangshan Peak had already been crowded with people. The strong men from all sides almost all rushed to Wangshan Peak at dawn. Almost all the superpowers in the Foyuan Empire had masters coming. The masters of the He family, the Mu family, the Long family, and the Shi family in the East Wasteland also came to Wangshan Peak one by one, and even the strong men of the ancient clans such as the Phoenix clan and the Golden God clan came one by one. Even many old monsters and old demons who had been in seclusion for many years appeared one by one. The strong men from all sides were shocked to see the strong men who were rarely seen at ordinary times appear one by one. Many people did not expect that the decisive battle between Yang Zai Ocean and Wei Zhangyuan would attract so many peerless strong men to watch the battle. Wei Zhangyuan is here. Someone in the crowd shouted. Wangshan Peak suddenly became very agitated. Everyone looked over and saw Wei Zhangyuan, who was wearing a dark blue brocade robe, breaking through the air. However, Wei Zhangyuan was respectfully following behind the two people at this time. Seeing these two people, many people were fanatical and worshipful. Hello, Lord Motion. Hello, Lord Sword God. The strong men of each sect bowed excitedly. Even the ancestors of the He family, the Mu family, the Long family, and the Shi family bowed respectfully. Even many strong men knelt down to show respect. The people who came were none other than the Magic Sky Sword God and the Peacock clan leader Lan Xian Chang. The Magic Sky Sword God was an invincible sword god of his generation. More than 2000 years ago, he killed 4 powerful gods with one sword, and the world was shaken. The Magic Sky Sword God nodded slightly to everyone, and brought Wei Zhangyuan to the top of Wangshan Peak. After a long time, everyone stood up. After a while, the masters of the Buddhist Yuan imperial family also arrived one after another. Time passed, and the sun gradually rose. However, Yang Zai Ocean was still nowhere to be seen. Why hasn't Yang Zai Ocean come yet? A little junior, so many of us strong men are waiting here. This is really arrogant. He Wei, the ancestor of the He family, snorted coldly. The leader of the Black Wind cult, Chen Ting, also said coldly, he is not only arrogant, but also extremely arrogant. The Magic Sky Sword God also frowned. Obviously, he was very displeased with Yang Zai Ocean's delay. Just as Wei Zhangyuan was about to speak, someone suddenly shouted, Yang Zai Ocean is here. Everyone looked over. They saw a figure appearing in the sky. Previously, when the 17 gods of Wu Peng of the Tatian sect besieged the True Dragon sect, Yang Zai Ocean stepped on the flame of the earth, and came from the air. Now, he also stepped on the flame of the earth, and came from the air. Chapter 302, Just 7 Golden Buddha Sword Hearts. Yang Zai Ocean's figure, under the sunlight, seemed to be covered with a layer of golden color. There was no momentum on his body, but the entire Wangshan Peak suddenly became quiet. The strong men from various sects and schools looked at the flame of the earth, and could not hide their shock. Even the Magic Heaven Sword God, looking at the flame of the earth under Yang Zai Ocean's feet, his eyes flickered. The flame of the earth, the strongest strange fire. No matter who saw the flame of the earth, it was difficult to suppress their shock. Wei Zhangyuan was also difficult to suppress his shock. Although he knew that Yang Zai Ocean used the flame of the earth to melt the purple cold ice of the Xianfo cauldron, He had not seen it with his own eyes. It was the first time he saw the legendary flame of the earth. It's just a strange fire. It can only be used to refine medicine. Suddenly, He, the ancestor of the He family, sneered, "It can't be used in a decisive battle." However, no one responded. Because everyone knows that strange fire can be used for more than just refining medicine. For example, the purple cold ice of the Cheyenne folk cauldron was melted by the flame of the earth. The green lotus sword god was hidden in the void. He looked at Yangzai Ocean, who was standing on the flame of the earth, and said with a smile, "This little guy is quite showy." Then he said, "He has the style of me in my old days." Under the gaze of everyone, Yangzai Ocean came to Wangshan Peak, put away the flame of the earth, and landed. In the center of Wangshan Peak was a wide flat ground. Wei Zhongyuan saw Yangzai Ocean coming and walked out. When he came to the flat ground, he stood with his hands behind his back and stared at Yangzai Ocean. "Yangzai Ocean, you are finally here." He had been waiting for this battle for 3 months. Since he and Yangzai Ocean agreed to a decisive battle at the top of Xianzang Academy 3 months ago, he had been waiting and looking forward to this battle. This battle finally came. In the crowd, Long Batian, Feng Nu, Mu Yunshan, Chen Shao and everyone else's eyes fell on Yangzai Ocean and Wei Zhongyuan. Thinking of what Yangzai Ocean said yesterday, that he could defeat him in half a move, Wei Zhongyuan's eyes were full of murderous intent. "Yangzai Ocean, are you ready?" Yangzai Ocean looked at Wei Zhongyuan with murderous eyes, his face calm. "Go ahead." As Yangzai Ocean finished speaking, Wei Zhongyuan's whole body burst out with colorful sword energy, and the sword energy gathered behind him like a peacock spreading its tail. Ming Wang Budang sword body. Everyone looked at the sword energy behind Wei Zhongyuan and was amazed. Many people did not expect that Wei Zhongyuan would use the strongest sword body of the Peacock clan, Ming Wang Budang sword body, as soon as he started. Obviously, Wei Zhongyuan wanted to defeat Yangzai Ocean with a crushing force. In the surprised eyes of everyone, the sword energy behind Wei Zhongyuan increased. Soon, his sword energy reached 10,000. Wei Zhongyuan's Ming Wang Budang sword body has indeed broken through to the 10th level. An ancestor exclaimed. 10,000 means that Wei Zhongyuan's Ming Wang Budang sword body has entered the 10th level. Just when Wei Zhongyuan's Ming Wang Budang sword energy reached 10,000, suddenly, his whole body's sword energy surged again, and the sword energy in his body continued to burst out. In the blink of an eye, it reached as many as 20,000. The 11th level. The Ming Wang Budang sword body is the 11th level. At the scene, the strong men from all sides were extremely shocked. If the Ming Wang Budang sword body breaks through the 11th level, the sword energy will reach 20,000. Once it breaks through to the 11th level, the power of the Ming Wang Budang sword body will double again. No one expected that Wei Zhongyuan's Ming Wang Budang sword body would actually break through to the 11th level. You know, it is very difficult to cultivate the Ming Wang Budang sword body to the 10th level, let alone the 11th level. Everyone was in an uproar. Even the Kinglian sword god in the void was surprised. Wei Zhongyuan was so young, and he could cultivate the Ming Wang Budang sword body to the 11th level. His sword talent is absolutely amazing. In the shock of everyone, Wei Zhongyuan's body suddenly bloomed with a golden Buddha-like sword energy. In the sword energy, there were layers of golden Buddha light. Golden Buddha sword heart. Wei Zhongyuan activated the power of his golden Buddha sword heart. The power of the 7 golden Buddha sword hearts surged violently, stirring up the wind and clouds. The shadows of the 7 golden Buddhas gathered around his body. Wei Zhongyuan seemed to be the incarnation of the golden Buddha. With the blessing of the power of the 7 golden Buddha sword hearts, his Ming Wang Budang sword energy was even more brilliant, shining through the 9 heavens, illuminating every corner of Wangshan Peak. 7 golden Buddha sword hearts. Stunning for eternity. He Wei, the ancestor of the He family, was shocked. Looking at Wei Zhongyuan's 7 golden Buddha sword hearts, the strong men on the scene were all shocked. It is rare to condense 1 golden Buddha sword heart. It is rare to condense 7 golden Buddha sword hearts. Not to mention the Foyuan Empire, it is also extremely rare in the entire Kangshen continent. Even He Wei and other ancestors were shocked by Wei Zhongyuan's 7 golden Buddha sword hearts, not to mention Long Batian, Feng Nu, Mu Yunshan and others. In the void, the green lotus sword god was also amazed. In the shock of everyone, Wei Zhangyuan made a move. He thrust out with the long sword in his hand. With the power of the 11th level of the Ming Wang's immovable sword and the power of the 7 golden Buddha sword hearts, his long sword hummed and burst out with colorful light and golden Buddha light. Yang Xiaoshan, get out of Wangshan Peak. Wei Zhangyuan's cold voice resounded through the world. The 20,000 sword energies of the Ming Wang burst out from his long sword and turned into an amazing sword river. The power of the sword river was so strong that all the Emperor Realm Masters present changed color. Seeing Wei Zhangyuan's sword, a martial Emperor 5th level master trembled and said, "Is there anyone in the same realm who can take this sword?" Yesterday Yang Xiaoshan said that he would defeat Wei Zhangyuan in half a move. If he can't even take Wei Zhangyuan's sword now, it will really make people laugh. He Wei, the ancestor of the He family, said coldly. It was said that it was too late, and Wei Zhangyuan's long sword and sword river had already hit Yang Xiaoshan. Seeing that Wei Zhangyuan's sword river was about to hit Yang Xiaoshan, suddenly, the heaven-shaking dragon roar sounded, and countless real dragons in Yang Xiaoshan's body soared into the sky, and a terrifying dragon power swept across the world. The surrounding airflow was all shaken away. Just 7 golden Buddha sword hearts. Yang Xiaoshan's indifferent voice sounded. Suddenly, 9 color light surged all over his body. 9 color sword energy burst out one after another. 1, 2, 3. In an instant, 7 9 color sword hearts were awakened. 7 9 color sword hearts. Everyone looked at the sudden change in front of them in shock. Yang Xiaoshan actually condensed 7 sword hearts, and they were 9 color sword hearts. This boy is really unparalleled. The magic sky sword god looked at Yang Xiaoshan in amazement. Just when everyone was shocked by Yang Xiaoshan's 7 9 color sword hearts, suddenly, next to the 7 9 color sword hearts, the 9 color sword light bloomed again. What? 8 9 color sword hearts. It's 8 9 color sword hearts. How is it possible? He is only in the martial emperor realm. He Wei, the ancestor of the He family, was shocked. All the ancestors and sect masters were shocked. Even the demon heaven sword god, Lan Shai and Chang, and the azure lotus sword god in the void were all shocked. Just when everyone was shocked, suddenly, the 9 color sword light bloomed again next to the 8th 9 color sword heart. The 9th 9 color sword heart. In the eyes of everyone who was shocked, the 9th 9 color sword heart was so dazzling. It was so eternal. Chapter 303. Then I really want to broaden my horizons. 9 9 color sword hearts. How shocking. How unparalleled. 9 9 color sword hearts simultaneously burst out dazzling sword rays, and the sky and the earth changed color. Wangshan Peak was illuminated by the sword rays of the 9 color sword hearts, and then the surrounding peaks were all illuminated. 9 color sword energy blasted into the 9 sky clouds. The sword rays of Wei Zhangyuan's golden Buddha sword heart were completely covered. The 7 golden Buddha sword hearts that were so bright before were completely dim and lost all their light. In front of the power of the 9 9 color sword hearts, the power of the 7 golden Buddha sword hearts is so small. Whether it is He Wei or Chenting, they all feel blinded by the light. He Zen, Chen Shan and others trembled at the corners of their mouths. Their faces were pale, and their hands and feet were shaking. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. In the crowd, Zuoqiu appeared out of nowhere, looking at Yang Xiaoshan, leaning non-stop. As Zuoqiu kept leaning, Yang Xiaoshan punched out. Suddenly, the power of the 9 9 color sword hearts burst out. Like a tsunami, like a landslide. The space roared endlessly. The sword river formed by the 7 golden Buddha sword hearts broke into pieces and collapsed. In Wei Zhangyuan's shocked expression, the power of the 9 color sword heart overwhelmed him. Wei Zhangyuan was like being swept by a 9 color storm. He flew up, passing over everyone. He flew out of Wangshan Peak and smashed directly into the opposite mountain. With a loud bang, rocks rolled down. From top to bottom, countless cracks extended from the opposite mountain. Everyone was stunned. Half a move. After a long time, someone murmured. Yesterday, Yang Xiaoshan said that half a move defeated Wei Zhangyuan, and many people sneered. Now Wei Zhangyuan can't even take a move. What else is it, if not half a move? He Wei, who just said that Yang Xiaoshan might not be able to take even a move from Wei Zhangyuan, felt that his throat was stuck by the power of the 9-color sword heart. The only one in the world. The ancestor of the Buddhist Yuan emperor looked at Yang Xiaoshan and said in shock. Since ancient times, the only person who could condense 9 sword hearts in the martial emperor realm was Yang Xiaoshan. By condensing 9 sword hearts, one can engrave his name on the Sky Burial Monument at the entrance of the Sky Burial Academy, for all eternity to admire, and for all races to remember. This is a height that countless strong men in the Sky Burial Academy could not reach in their entire lives. But now, Yang Xiaoshan, who is in the Emperor realm, has done it. Yang Xiaoshan, who is in the Emperor realm, is qualified to have his name engraved on the Sky Burial Monument. This little guy's really a big surprise. In the void, the Blue Lotus Sword God was surprised and full of emotion. 9 sword hearts. This is the real posture of a sword god. Moreover, Yang Xiaoshan's sword hearts are all the strongest sword hearts. Once he achieves the sword god, he will definitely be the strongest sword god. Everyone looked at Yang Xiaoshan and almost forgot about Wei Zhangyuan, who was blasted into the opposite mountain. Suddenly, the opposite mountain roared, and Wei Zhangyuan shot out from the mountain and returned to the Wangshan Peak. It was seen that the blue brocade robe on Wei Zhangyuan had completely exploded, and he was wearing a black armor. If it weren't for this armor, he would have been seriously injured if not dead. Wei Zhangyuan's hair was disheveled, his body was covered with dust, and he no longer had the aura of detachment from the dust. He stared at Yang Xiaoshan in shock and anger. He didn't expect Yang Xiaoshan to actually condense 9 9-color sword hearts. Yang Xiaoshan, so what if you condense 9 sword hearts? Wei Zhangyuan was full of murderous intent. Do you think I lost? I have the black god armor. Even if you have 9 sword hearts, you can't break my black god armor. When he said this, his whole body was surging with light, and a golden pill flew out of his body. This golden pill was actually black. When the golden pill flew out, the power of darkness was boundless. The world seemed to fall into endless darkness in an instant. All the sunlight was swallowed by the golden pill. In the end, only the light of Yang Xiaoshan's 9-color sword heart remained. But under the dark power of the golden pill, the light of Yang Xiaoshan's 9-color sword heart was like a 9-leaf boat, and there was a possibility of being destroyed at any time. Seeing Wei Zhangyuan's golden elixir, a sect elder's face changed drastically, and he shouted in surprise, "Black Demon Golden Elixir! Black Demon Golden Elixir!" The whole world was shocked by the words. Black Demon Golden Elixir is the 4th rank top grade golden elixir. Although some people in the Foyuan Empire have condensed the top 10 top grade golden elixirs, no one has ever condensed the top 3 top grade golden elixirs. Therefore, Wei Zhangyuan's Black Demon Golden Elixir is the strongest top grade golden elixir in the history of the Foyuan Empire. The Magic Heaven Sword God looked at Wei Zhangyuan's Black Demon Golden Elixir and showed a satisfied smile. It was precisely because Wei Zhangyuan condensed the Black Demon Golden Elixir that he accepted him as his disciple. Wei Zhangyuan, who has the Black Demon Golden Elixir, practices his Magic Heaven Sword Dao, and his future achievements will definitely surpass him. Wei Zhangyuan used all his strength to activate the power of the Black Demon Golden Pill. The power of the Black Demon was like a sea of annihilation, swelling wildly, swallowing the sky and the earth. He seemed to have turned into a black demon, with his eyes full of the light of the black demon. Yang Xiaoshan, I don't believe that you can condense the top 3 best golden pills. Everyone looked at Yang Xiaoshan. If Yang Xiaoshan could not condense the top 3 best golden pills, he would not be able to suppress Wei Zhangyuan. Yang Xiaoshan could not suppress Wei Zhangyuan's 7 golden Buddha sword hearts and the power of the Black Demon Golden Pill with his 9 color sword hearts alone. With the power of the Black Demon Golden Pill, the power of Wei Zhangyuan's 7 golden Buddha sword hearts continued to soar. Can Yang Xiaoshan condense the top 3 best golden pills? An old ancestor of the sect stared at Yang Xiaoshan. How can it be so easy to condense the top 3 best golden elixirs? Another sect elder shook his head and said, high talent does not mean that the condensed golden elixir is high. Indeed, there are countless geniuses on the Kangshen continent, and there are many who are more talented than Wei Zhangyuan, but the golden elixirs condensed in the end are all ordinary top grade golden elixirs. It is so difficult to condense the top 10 best golden elixirs. This requires not only a monstrous talent, but also a strong will, and a tenacious heart of martial arts. The Magic Sky Sword God, the Green Lotus Sword God and others also looked at Yangzai Ocean, wanting to know whether Yangzai Ocean condensed the top 3 best golden elixirs. Just the top 3 best golden elixirs. Yangzai Ocean looked at Wei Zhangyu and calmly, in your cognition, the strongest in the world are only the top 3 best golden elixirs? When Yangzai Ocean said this, everyone was stunned. Aren't the top 3 best golden elixirs the strongest? When Wei Zhangyu heard this, he laughed as if he heard a big joke. Yangzai Ocean, you mean, the strongest in the world, is not the top 3 best golden elixirs? You mean, the golden elixir you condensed, is stronger than the top 3 best golden elixirs? Then I really want to open my eyes and see what kind of golden elixir can be stronger than the top 3 best golden elixirs. Many people at the scene laughed. Just as Wei Zhangyu finished speaking, suddenly, a terrifying golden light burst out from Yangzai Ocean's body, and the golden light rushed up to the sky like a surging sea. When the golden light rushed up, it blasted away the light of the Black Devil. Previously, the light of the Black Devil was boundless and covered the world, but now it was spread out. In the sky, the sun shone down again. Just as everyone was shocked, a golden elixir slowly rose from Yangzai Ocean's body. The moment the golden elixir flew out, the earth shook, Wangshan Peak shook continuously, and everyone shook continuously. Then, the surrounding mountains were shaking. The whole world seemed to be unable to withstand the power of this golden elixir, and was shaking violently. Rays of divine light spread out like waves. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 304 The New Master of Kangshen Continent. The invincible power of the golden elixir swept the world. Under the invincible power of the golden elixir, everyone was suffocated. Everyone looked at the golden elixir with divine light slowly rising behind Yangzai Ocean in shock. The Magic Sky Sword God and the Green Lotus Sword God were also shocked when they thought of an ancient legend. This time, Yangzai Ocean and Wei Zhangyu had a decisive battle. Wang King had something to do and did not come to watch the battle. He was studying an ancient object in the forbidden area of the Xianzang Academy. Suddenly, the ground under his feet began to tremble. Wang King was stunned. This is the forbidden area of the academy. How could the ground suddenly tremble? He walked out of the black hole in surprise. When he walked out of the black hole, he saw the boundless divine light like waves in the direction of Wangshan Peak. Looking at the boundless divine light, Wang King was shocked. Could this be? At this moment, suddenly, an invincible sword energy rushed into the sky from the deepest part of the forbidden area. The strength of the sword energy made Wang King change color. As Wang King was shocked, a figure flew out from the deepest part of the forbidden area and stood in the air. Seeing this figure, Wang King trembled all over and knelt on the ground. Invincible Sword Ancestor. The person who appeared was the Sword Ancestor, Ji Wudi. He was also the first invincible strongman to have his name engraved on the Xianzang monument. After Ji Wudi's name, it was Giant Changkong, the Sun and Moon Saint King, the Magic Sky Sword God, the Green Lotus Sword God. Ji Wudi was the oldest existence in the Xianzang Academy. He was also the strongest existence in the history of the Xianzang Academy. Some people said that Ji Wudi's strength had surpassed the Xianzang ancestor back then. However, 10,000 years ago, Ji Wudi suddenly disappeared. Many people thought that Ji Wudi had left the Kangshen continent, but only Wang King knew that Ji Wudi had been in seclusion in the deepest part of the forbidden area of the Xianzang Academy. Even Wang King didn't expect that Master Ji Wudi, who had not appeared in the world for 10,000 years, would appear at this moment. Ji Wudi, who was full of sword energy, did not look at Wang King, but looked towards the direction of Wangshan Peak. His face was full of doubt, then shock, and then unbelievable. In the end, he was horrified and excited. God Great Golden Elixir. God Great Golden Elixir. Wang King's mind was buzzing. He turned his head and looked towards Wangshan Peak. It was really a God Great Golden Elixir. So, his guess just now was correct. Someone really condensed a God Great Golden Elixir. After being shocked, Wang King trembled with excitement. After a million years, their Kangshan continent finally had a god-grade golden elixir again. Suddenly, Ji Wudi roared to the sky, turned into a sword light, and flew rapidly towards Wangshan Peak. Wang King woke up and hurried to catch up. At this time, the peerless masters who were practicing in seclusion in Xianzang Academy were alarmed and flocked to Wangshan Peak. At Wangshan Peak, He Wei, the ancestor of the He family, looked at Yangzai Ocean's slowly rising golden elixir, shaking like he had epilepsy. God-grade golden elixir. Many powerful men fell to the ground with a thump, looking at Yangzai Ocean in shock, as if looking at an extremely terrifying existence. Some family strongmen couldn't help but crawl on the ground. Since ancient times, there have been legends about the divine golden elixir. This legend finally appeared in front of them. How could they not be excited? How could they not be shocked? Long Batian, Feng Nu, Mu Yunshan and others all lost their breath. Liang Lin and Chen Xia had already collapsed to the ground. Impossible. How could it be a divine golden elixir? Wei Zhangyuan suddenly screamed, as if he was crazy. There is no way that a divine golden elixir can be born in the world. Obviously, he couldn't accept this result. He condensed the Black Demon golden elixir. He was the hope of the Foyuan Empire and the strongest man in the future of the Foyuan Empire. Everything is possible in this world, Yangzai Ocean said, and then, the golden light roared out from his body again. The second golden elixir flew out of his body. When the second golden elixir flew out, the earth was not only shaking, the entire Wangshan Peak was cracking. Cracks appeared in the earth. Even the surrounding peaks had cracks, and the cracks extended from the top of the peak to the foot of the peak. All the waterfalls were boiling. All the forests were shaking. The monstrous power swept across. At this moment, everyone seemed to have their souls sucked away. They were stunned, and their minds were blank as they looked at the second golden elixir. The second divine golden elixir. Kinglian Sword God had appeared in the air without knowing when. He looked at Yangzai Ocean's second golden elixir with a dull face. The second divine golden elixir. Some of the ancestors who had not fallen to the ground before also thumped and all fell to the ground. Some even sat on a sharp stone without realizing it. Ji Wudi, who came from the depths of the Forbidden Land, was halfway there when he suddenly saw the golden light rising up again. He saw the second round of divine light. He felt the power of the second divine golden elixir. Ji Wudi was stunned. Wang King was stunned. Is my Kangshan continent going to see the light of ancient times again? After so many years, my Kangshan continent is finally going to see the light of ancient times again. Is my Kangshan continent finally going to welcome a new master? Ji Wudi suddenly looked up to the sky with tears in his eyes. The position of the master of Kangshan continent has been vacant for too long. The peerless masters who had been hiding from the world and rushed over from the Xianzang Academy looked at Wangshan Peak and were also excited and incoherent. 2 divine golden elixirs. Who is it who condensed the 2 divine golden elixirs? After looking up to the sky with tears, Ji Wudi once again accelerated his speed and rushed to Wangshan Peak. At Wangshan Peak, Yangzai Ocean stood there like an ancient god with 2 divine golden elixirs behind him suppressing the heavens. Wei Zhangyuan's Black Demon Golden Core, suppressed by the 2 divine golden cores, had already been lying on the ground, unable to even get up. The boundless darkness before was blasted through again and again, and was blasted away without a trace. Yangzai Ocean suddenly punched out. Instantly, the power of the 2 divine golden cores turned into 2 surging golden oceans, blasting towards Wei Zhangyuan. Wei Zhangyuan was terrified and shouted, "Black Demon God!" Behind him, a dark god shrouded in boundless demonic energy appeared faintly. However, even the Black Demon God could not withstand the power of the 2 divine golden cores. What Black Demon God? He was instantly blasted through by the power of the 2 divine golden cores and disappeared. Wei Zhangyuan was also blasted into the air. This time he flew higher and faster. With a loud bang, Wei Zhangyuan was blasted into the wall of the opposite mountain peak, and then blasted through the wall, and blasted deeper into the wall. Rocks and rocks shot out. Dust rolled in and out. The loud noises continued for a long time. Everyone looked at the mountain wall that was blasted through, and was so shocked that they could not speak for a long time. Defeated. Liang Lin, Chen Shan and others looked at the mountain peaks on the opposite side, their mouths wide open. Their young master, who had 7 golden Buddha sword hearts and condensed the 4th grade golden elixir, still lost. He didn't even have a chance to use his 99,000-year soul ring, and he was defeated. They could see that Wei Zhangyuan had been blasted to death on the opposite side and had no strength to fight anymore. Chapter 305, Invincible Sword Ancestor. Not only Liang Lin, Chen Shan and others did not arrive, even the magic sky sword god did not expect that his disciple Wei Zhangyuan would be defeated so thoroughly. The magic sky sword god looked at Yang Ocean, who stood there, not retreating at all, like a huge mountain supporting the sky. His eyes were complicated with shock, excitement, envy, even jealousy and murderous intent. Strong murderous intent. That's right, it was a strong murderous intent. There has never been a moment when he wanted to kill someone so much. However, just when the magic sky sword god had the murderous intention, suddenly, there was a rumbling sound in the sky in the distance, and a sword light broke through the air. The sword light was so fast that even the magic sky sword god was shocked. The sword light stopped at Wangshan Peak. When the sword light dissipated, everyone looked and saw a young man appeared in front of them. Many people did not recognize the young man. Even many sect ancestors did not recognize the young man. But when the magic sky sword god saw the young man, his face changed drastically. Invincible Master. Invincible Master. Hearing that the magic sky sword god actually called the young man in front of him as master, everyone was shocked. Invincible? Many ancestors suddenly thought of a person. It's the invincible sword ancestor. An ancestor trembled with excitement. What? The invincible sword ancestor? The ancestors of the sects were shocked. They finally knew who the young man in front of them was. The invincible sword ancestor. Ji Wudi. He is known as the strongest person in the history of Xianzang Academy. He is also the most amazing ancestor of swordsmanship in the history of Xianzang Academy. It's the invincible sword ancestor. The invincible sword ancestor. The strong men of the sects knelt down excitedly. Long Batian, Feng Nu and others also trembled violently. No one thought that they would see the legendary invincible sword ancestor Ji Wudi today. On Wangshan Peak, strong men from all sides knelt down one after another. Even the ancestors who came from the Buddhist Yuan imperial household bowed deeply. Even the patriarch of the Peacock clan, Lan Xian Chang, bowed deeply. The Peacock clan is the first clan of the Buddhist Yuan Empire. As the patriarch of the Peacock clan, Lan Xian Chang has a very respected status, but now in front of Ji Wudi, he dare not do anything rash. In terms of seniority, Ji Wudi is 2 generations older than him. The magic sky sword god also completely suppressed the killing intent in his heart, and his heart was beating wildly. When the magic sky sword god entered the Xianzang Academy to study, he was still a little martial emperor, and Ji Wudi had already entered the realm of gods. After so many years, he didn't know what Ji Wudi's strength was, but he was definitely unfathomable. Ji Wudi didn't look at the crowd, but at Yang Ocean. Looking at Yang Ocean's 2 divine golden pills, he excitedly stepped forward and said in a soft voice, "Child, what's your name?" "My name is Yang Ocean." Yang Ocean clasped his fists and said respectfully. Yang Ocean was also surprised by the appearance of Ji Wudi. Ji Wudi, the first person on the Xianzang monument. A person who is said to be stronger than the founder of Xianzang. How amazing. Yang Ocean. Ji Wudi read and smiled. Good name. Good name. Yang Ocean was embarrassed. His own name was obviously very ordinary. Ji Wudi pulled Yang Ocean and said excitedly, "Child, who is your master?" Yang Ocean hesitated. "Master? He has not really obtained the heart of Kangshan yet, and is not considered a disciple of Kangshan. The only one who can be called his master is Hangfeng Divine Lord. But the name of Hangfeng Divine Lord is too scary." Just when Yang Ocean hesitated whether to say it, Ji Wudi smiled and said, "If it is inconvenient, then don't say it. I just asked casually." Then, his eyes fell on Motion Sword God and said, "You are the kid Motion, right?" It is estimated that in the entire Foyuan Empire, only Ji Wudi dared to call the Sword God Motion a kid. Motion Sword God did not dare to have any dissatisfaction. He stepped forward, clasped his fists, and bowed and said, "Junior is Motion. Meet Master Wudi." Ji Woody suddenly said, "You just had the intention to kill Ziocean?" Everyone was stunned and looked at Motion Sword God. Motion Sword God did not expect Ji Woody to suddenly make this matter clear. "Master Woody, the Magic Sky Sword God said hesitantly, trying to explain. Ji Woody interrupted, "You don't need to explain either." Then he glanced at the strong men from all sides and said, "Since so many people are here, I will make it clear that Ziocean will be the young dean of my Xianzang Academy from now on. Whoever dares to kill Ziocean will be against me in Xianzang Academy." Everyone was shocked. Ji Woody was undoubtedly announcing to everyone present that he would protect Yang Ziocean. Whoever dared to touch Yang Ziocean would have to think twice. Even the Magic Sky Sword God was shocked when he heard this. No one dared to ignore Ji Woody's words. Ji Woody turned around and said to Yang Ziocean with a smile, "Ziocean, are you free? Come to my house and sit down. Since the senior has invited me, I respectfully obey your order." Yang Ziocean said respectfully, "Okay." Ji Woody laughed heartily, then kindly pulled Yang Ziocean and flew to his cave. "Can you drink? 10,000 years ago, I hid a lot of good wine. Let's have a good drink today." Under the gaze of everyone, Ji Woody and Yang Ziocean gradually disappeared into the sky. Everyone looked at Yang Ziocean who was leaving, and their emotions were extremely complicated, with envy, excitement, admiration, jealousy, and even murderous intent. Yang Ziocean left, but everyone was reluctant to leave for a long time. Many people were still thinking about the invincible power of Yang Ziocean's 2 divine golden pills just now, and their hearts were difficult to calm down. As for Wei Zhongyuan, he was dug out from the pile of rocks in the belly of the mountain by Lianglin, Chen Shan and others. When Wei Zhongyuan was dug out, he saw a terrifying fist mark on his black god armor. Lianglin and others were shocked when they saw this. They knew the defense of Wei Zhongyuan's black god armor. Wei Zhongyuan once said that, as long as he put on this black god armor, the Emperor realm would never be able to break its defense. But now, he was blasted like this by Yang Ziocean. If the fist mark was deeper, I'm afraid it could penetrate the armor. The Magic Sky Sword God looked at the unconscious Wei Zhongyuan, sighed, and asked Lianglin and others to carry him back. He looked at the direction where Yang Ziocean left, and a trace of coldness flashed in his eyes. As time passed, the strong men from all sides left Wangshan Peak one after another. The Green Lotus Sword God also left. Mu Yunshin returned to Teohua Peak to wait for Yang Ziocean. On the way back from Wangshan Peak, Mu Yunshin's heart was thumping. At night, the Xianzang Academy was very lively. It had never been so lively in history. Almost everyone was talking about Yang Ziocean and the battle between Yang Ziocean and Wei Zhongyuan. I didn't expect that Wei Zhongyuan didn't even have the chance to summon his soul ring, and he was blasted to death. What do you think Yang Ziocean will condense? Will it be the legendary 100,000 year soul ring? No one in the Kangshen continent can condense a 100,000 year soul ring now, but Yang Ziocean's soul ring may really be 100,000 years. All parties were talking about it. Everyone was curious and guessed whether Yang Ziocean's soul ring would be 100,000 years. Chapter 306, East Desert Sunset City. Yang Ziocean was unaware of the discussion outside. He stayed in Ji Woody's cave for 2 days and 2 nights, and drank wine for 2 days and 2 nights. Ji Woody's wine, which had been stored for 10,000 years, was much more effective than Li Zhenking's Langzi decoction. After drinking it, Yang Ziocean's strange fire ran wildly, and his whole body was smoking. After coming out of Ji Woody's cave, Yang Ziocean breathed a sigh of relief, as if he had survived a disaster. Knowing that Yang Ziocean was going back to Yaowan Peak, Long Batian, Feng Nu and others came out from afar to greet him. Looking at Yang Ziocean again, their attitudes had changed greatly. In addition to being more respectful, they also had fear and admiration. In the past 2 days, whenever they thought of Yang Ziocean's 2 divine golden pills at Wangshan Peak, they were excited and even proud. That's right, they were proud to be able to follow Yang Ziocean. "Young master, you're back." Feng Nu was tender and her beautiful eyes were full of admiration. In terms of beauty, Feng Nu is not inferior to Mu Yunshin. In terms of status, she is the daughter of the Phoenix clan leader, which is higher than Mu Yunshin. Yang Xiaoshan nodded and asked the 4 people, have you nothing happened these 2 days? Long Batian hurried forward and said respectfully, these 2 days, everyone in the academy is talking about the battle between the young master and Wei Zhangyuan, and many people are speculating about the young master's spirit ring. Feng Nu smiled and said, now everyone is curious about the young master's spirit ring. Many people are speculating that the young master's spirit ring may be the legendary 100,000 year spirit ring. After saying that, she looked straight at Yang Xiaoshan. Long Batian, Li Yushan, and Shi Huang also looked at Yang Xiaoshan. They were also curious whether Yang Xiaoshan's spirit ring was a 100,000 year spirit ring. 100,000 year soul ring. Yang Xiaoshan smiled. Seeing the curious expressions of Feng Nu and Long Batian, he smiled and said, you will have a chance to see it later. At this time, the devil ancestor Mishan stepped forward and said, sir, the 1000 Buddha medicine god has been found in the land of redemption. He should be in the 1000 demon mountain in the land of redemption. 1000 demon mountain? Yang Xiaoshan frowned. The land of redemption is where the Buddha Yuan exiled the evil ones, and the 1000 demon mountain is the most chaotic place in the land of redemption, and almost all the big demons gather there. Yes, it is at the top of the 1000 demon mountain. The devil ancestor Mishan said again. Okay, I know. Yang Xiaoshan immediately took out another holy level pill and gave it to the devil ancestor Mishan. The devil ancestor Mishan was delighted and thanked Yang Xiaoshan. After that, Yang Xiaoshan stayed at the Medicine King Peak. He planned to go to the Mu family in the East Wilderness tomorrow. After the Mu family, he would go to the land of redemption to find the cave of the 1000 Buddha medicine god. That night, Yang Xiaoshan took out the Kangshen sword skill secret book and read it carefully. After reading it once, Yang Xiaoshan closed his eyes and recalled it. After making sure that he had memorized it, he read it again from beginning to end. Yang Xiaoshan then took out the Kangshen sword to practice the Kangshen sword technique. However, just when Yang Xiaoshan infused his true essence and performed the first move of the sword technique, all things have gods, suddenly, a tiny crack appeared on the blade of the Kangshen sword. Seeing the cracks on the blade of the Kangshen sword, Yang Xiaoshan was dumbfounded. Damn, no way. The Kangshen sword, like his burial heaven sword, is a broken sword? Yang Xiaoshan felt like ramming a mountain. The Azure Thunder Python and the Ice Flame Kirin came out and saw the cracks on the blade of the Kangshen sword. They were also speechless. The Kangshen sword can be repaired, but it requires innate divine iron. The Ice Flame Kirin said, and it needs to be reforged with divine fire. Yang Xiaoshan has divine fire, so what is missing now is the innate divine iron. Yang Xiaoshan smiled bitterly. He was still looking for Xianshan refined iron. If he couldn't even find Xianshan refined iron, where could he find Xianshan divine iron? Xianshan divine iron was even rarer and more precious than Xianshan refined iron. The dwarves of the 100 Races Empire should have Xianshan divine iron. The Sky Blue Thunder Python pondered. I just don't know if the ancestors of the dwarves are willing to give up the Xianshan divine iron. The 100 Races Empire? It seems that he really has to go to the 100 Races Empire. Later, Yang Xiaoshan found that only when he was infused with true essence, the blade of the Kangshen sword would crack. Under normal circumstances, the blade of the Kangshen sword did not have any cracks. It seems that the damage to the Kangshen sword is much smaller than that of the Burial Heaven sword. Under normal circumstances, the Kangshen sword can still be used to practice the Kangshen sword technique, but it cannot be used against the enemy. If it is used against the enemy and withstands the opponent's attack, the cracks on the sword body may become larger and larger. So, Yang Xiaoshan continued to use the Kangshen sword to practice the Kangshen sword technique. After practicing the Kangshen sword technique for a while, it was already late at night. Yang Xiaoshan sat cross-legged on the cold jade bed to practice the dragon art. One night passed. The next day, Mu Yunshan came to find Yang Xiaoshan early. Today, Mu Yunshan wore a light red dress, which made her look more charming, and her skin was so white and tender that it seemed that water could be squeezed out. Mu Yunshan twisted her round buttocks and walked towards Yang Xiaoshan, twisting left and right. Her slender waist seemed to be about to break. She looked at Yang Xiaoshan, and her eyes were more seductive than Feng Nu's. A moment later, Yang Xiaoshan took the Mu family's spaceship to leave the Xianzang Academy and headed for the East Wilderness. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was leaving the East Wilderness, Wei Zhangyuan was standing respectfully in front of the magic sky sword god at the sword god peak of the Xianzang Academy, bowing deeply. "Master, don't worry. I will definitely cultivate the Mingwang immovable sword body to the great perfection. I will definitely let my soul ring evolve to 100,000 years. I will definitely defeat Yang Xiaoshan." Wei Zhangyuan's words were loud and clear. In ancient times, there was a secret method that could allow a soul ring that was infinitely close to 100,000 years, such as 99,000 years, to evolve to 100,000 years. Of course, the conditions are extremely harsh. It is very difficult to evolve, and it is almost a matter of life and death. The demon heaven sword god looked at Wei Zhangyuan's firm eyes and praised, "Master believes in you. Tomorrow, you will follow me to the Buddha's land to practice." Yes. 10 days later, Yang Xiaoshan and Mu Yunshin came to the East Desert. "Brother, the Sunset City is in front." Mu Yunshin pointed to the towering city in front. She was close to Yang Xiaoshan, and the charming body fragrance penetrated into Yang Xiaoshan's nostrils. Itchy. In the past 10 days, the two have had a lot of contact on the boat, and have become very familiar. Mu Yunshin often came to the room, to find Yang Xiaoshan, to make peach blossom tea. Now Yang Xiaoshan's whole body is full of peach blossom tea. Sunset City is the largest trading city in our eastern wilds, and one of the largest trading cities in the Buddhist Empire. Mu Yunshin continued to introduce, many super chambers of commerce in our Buddhist Empire have branches built in Sunset City. Go through Sunset City and head east to Mu family's Mu City. Oh, one of the largest trading cities in the Buddhist Empire. Yang Xiaoshan's heart moved, and he asked, "I wonder if there is dark night dew, heavenly fairy, and star anise glazed incense." Yang Xiaoshan named dozens of medicinal herbs. The blood of the Lord of the Abyss can be used to refine soul pills. If swallowed and cultivated, it can enhance the power of the soul, but the blood of the Lord of the Abyss alone cannot be used to refine soul pills. It also requires dozens of rare medicinal herbs he just mentioned. Chapter 307. Tathagata Buddha and the Dragon Goddess. Mu Yunshin was stunned. "Brother needs so many herbs to make pills?" she asked. Yang Xiaoshan nodded. "I didn't realize that brother is also a pharmacist." Mu Yunshin smiled. Yang Xiaoshan smiled and said, "I'm still good at making medicine." "Oh." Mu Yunshin's eyes lit up. "Brother is a 4-star pharmacist?" "No." Yang Xiaoshan said, "1 star." Mu Yunshin was speechless. However, Yang Xiaoshan did not lie to her. He is still a 1-star pharmacist. Since Shenhe country participated in the pharmacist assessment and passed the 1-star pharmacist assessment, he has not participated in the 2-star, 3-star, and 4-star pharmacist assessments. The two chatted as they walked into Sunset City. Mishai and Emozu followed behind Yang Xiaoshan. This time, Yang Xiaoshan came to the East Wilderness and only brought Mishai and Emozu. "Brother may be able to participate in the pharmacist competition of Foyuan," Mu Yunshin said. "In a few days, Foyuan will hold a pharmacist competition in Wanfo City." "Pharmacist competition?" Yang Xiaoshan asked. Mu Yunshin nodded. "The pharmacist competition is held every 10 years in the Wanfo City of Foyuan. The rewards are very generous. The top 10 will be rewarded with 20 top-grade taking UI pills, as well as secret medicine manuals and many manuscripts of master medicine masters. There are also many high-grade spirit stones." Yang Xiaoshan shook his head and said he was not interested before Mu Yunshin finished speaking. He really had no interest in the pharmacist competition of the Foyuan Empire. Top-grade taking UI pills. He now had more than enough top-grade taking UI pills. As for secret medicine manuals, manuscripts of master medicine masters, and high-grade spirit stones, he had no shortage of them. Previously in the Hell Abyss, he found the space rings of the dozen gods, which contained many secret medicine manuals. And there were many secret medicine manuals left by Han Feng. He could not finish reading all the secret medicine manuals. After entering Sunset City, Mu Yunshin took Yang Xiaoshan to the largest chamber of commerce in the city. After Mu Yunshin showed the token of the Mu family, the director of the Chamber of Commerce warmly welcomed Yang Xiaoshan and the other two in. Yang Xiaoshan gave the other party a list of medicinal materials that needed to be purchased. In the list of medicinal materials, in addition to the medicinal materials for refining soul pills, there are also medicinal materials for refining Sinewan Zijandan. Sinewan Zijandan is a more advanced elixir than taking Uidan. Now that he has broken through the martial emperor realm, he can already swallow Sinewan Zijandan to practice. The head of the Chamber of Commerce looked at the dense list of medicinal materials and was a little dazed. However, to Yang Xiaoshen's surprise, this Chamber of Commerce has all the medicinal materials he wants to buy, but the price is a little higher than the market price. Yang Xiaoshen didn't care about the high price and paid the money directly and bought all the medicinal materials he needed. I wonder if your Chamber of Commerce has Xianshen Jingti? Yang Xiaoshen suddenly asked when he was about to leave the Chamber of Commerce. The head of the Chamber of Commerce was startled and shook his head and said no. Brother wants to buy Xianshen Jingti? Mu Yunshin was a little surprised and then said, it seems that our Mu family treasure house has a piece. Yang Xiaoshen was stunned. The Xianshen Jingti that made him search for many years actually has it in the Mu family treasure house. After being stunned, Yang Xiaoshen could not help but feel happy. If so, then the burial heaven sword could be repaired. However, just as Yang Xiaoshen, Mu Yunshin and the other two walked out of the Chamber of Commerce not far away, they saw the crowd on the street rushing forward, and they were all excited and in an uproar. It's the Buddha's son and the goddess Yaokingsu. They have come to Sunset City. As soon as the voice came out, the whole street was boiling. Hearing the crowds boiling and cheering for the Buddha's son, Mu Yunshin was also surprised. The Buddha's son. Yang Xiaoshen saw Mu Yunshin's surprised expression and asked, the Buddha's son? Mu Yunshin explained, the Buddha's son Tang Huan is the most talented student in the history of Foyuan College. Before you, he was known as the first young man in the Foyuan Empire. Many people think that his talent and strength are higher than Wei Zhongyuan. Yang Xiaoshen was surprised and said, higher than Wei Zhongyuan? You know, Wei Zhongyuan has the Black Demon Golden Pill, 7 Golden Buddha Sword Hearts, 99,000 year soul rings, and has also cultivated the Mingwang immovable sword body of the Peacock clan. Mu Yunshin looked at the direction where the crowd was rushing and said, he was born with the body of Tathagata Buddha. Tathagata Buddha body. Yang Xiaoshen was shocked. Tathagata Buddha body is known as one of the 10 strongest Buddha bodies since ancient times. Even in ancient times, Tathagata Buddha body was one of the strongest and most domineering physiques. Wherever Tathagata Buddha body goes, all evil retreats, all demons crawl, and all ghosts disappear. This Tathagata Buddha son Tang Huan was born with the body of Tathagata Buddha. Then, Mu Yunshin said, he was not only born with the body of Tathagata Buddha, but also with the body of Tathagata Sword of Great Sunday. Tathagata Sword of Great Sun. A special physique that is not as weak as Tathagata Buddha. Yang Xiaoshen was surprised. Tang Huan was born with 2 special physiques. No wonder he was considered to be more talented than Wei Zhongyuan. Tathagata Buddha body, Tathagata Sword of Great Sun, these 2 special physiques. Even if you have one, it is already extraordinary, let alone having both at the same time. This is a bit like his twin supreme martial souls. Yaokingsu is the most beautiful woman in our Foyuan Empire. Mu Yunshin said this with a sour tone. Yang Xiaoshen blinked. Is she more beautiful than my sister? Mu Yunshin was amused by Yang Xiaoshen's expression and said with a smile, she is indeed very beautiful, not like a human being on earth. Her talent is also extremely enchanting. She is the goddess of Xianlong Temple in Foyuan, and the only goddess recognized by everyone in our Foyuan Empire. There are millions of temples in Foyuan. Qianlong Temple is the first temple in Foyuan, with the most disciples and the strongest power. It is also the leader of the millions of Buddhist temples in Foyuan. Yaokingsu is the goddess of Qianlong Temple, and it can also be said that she is the goddess of the entire Foyuan. This identity is amazing enough. What are Tathagata Buddha and Yaokingsu doing in the East Wilderness? Mu Yunshin wondered. Tang Huan and Yaokingsu should not come to the East Wilderness for no reason. The two appeared in Sunset City at the same time, and they must have come for something. At this time, countless masters from the sects surrounded a young man and woman walking from the distant street. The man was handsome, wearing a white robe, spotless, while the woman was hard to look at first glance, because she was too beautiful. Just like Mu Yunshin said just now, she was too beautiful to be a woman from the human world. Mu Yunshin, Feng Nu is already a first-class beauty, but compared with Yao Qingsu, she is still a little worse. Tang Huan and Yao Qingsu both rode unicorns. Unicorns are a kind of bright beasts, and not everyone can ride on such beasts. Tang Huan and Yao Qingsu rode on unicorns and walked slowly, chatting and laughing, like people in a painting. The two did not pay attention to Yang Xiaoshan and Mu Yunshan on the side of the road, and walked away in the crowd. Let's go too, Yang Xiaoshan said to Mu Yunshan. The three of them left Sunset City, and walked towards the Mu family's muching. Just as Yang Xiaoshan walked towards the Mu family's muching, Tang Huan and Yao Qingsu talked about the Mu family's True God spaceship. Although the True God spaceship is damaged, I'm afraid the Mu family will not agree to give it to us. Yao Qingsu shook her head. This time, the two came to the East Desert, just for the True God spaceship of the Mu family. Chapter 308, Fighting 3000 Emperors Alone. Tang Huan smiled and said, although the Mu family is powerful in the East Wilderness, no matter how powerful it dare not offend our entire Foyuan. If it dares to offend our entire Foyuan, it will be courting death. The True God spaceship is in a damaged state, and is of no use in their hands. Don't worry, they will give us the True God spaceship. Yao Qingsu nodded after hearing this, and then said, I didn't expect the flame of the earth to appear. She knew that Tang Huan had been looking for the flame of the earth for many years. He wanted to subdue the flame of the earth. Tang Huan's eyes were as deep as the sea. Yes, the flame of the earth appeared, and it was on a young boy named Yang Xiaoshan. Two great divine golden elixirs. The battle between Yang Xiaoshan and Wei Zhangyuan had long been spread to Foyuan. The millions of disciples of Foyuan temples and tens of millions of students of Foyuan College were all shocked. Even Tang Huan and Yao Qingsu were shocked when they heard the news. The two boasted that they were unparalleled in talent, but when they heard that Yang Xiaoshan had two great divine golden elixirs, they were suffocated. 9 color sword hearts, condensed two divine golden elixirs, and also possessed the flame of the earth. Yao Qingsu's heart trembled every time she said one. This Yang Xiaoshan, is he some kind of a vile doer? Is he the reincarnation of a god? God. Tang Huan felt heavy in his heart, as if a mountain was pressing down on him. His eyes flickered. If there is a chance, I would like to fight with this Yang Xiaoshan, and try whether his two divine golden elixirs are really invincible. Since the battle between Yang Xiaoshan and Wei Zhangyuan, many people now say that Yang Xiaoshan fought 3000 emperors alone, and swept across 13 continents with his two palms. How glorious and invincible is this to deserve such an evaluation? Even Tang Huan, who possessed the body of Tathagata Buddha and the body of the great son Tathagata Sword, has not been evaluated and respected in this way. He possesses the flame of the earth and the 9 phoenix golden flame. I wonder if he will participate in this Foyuan pharmacist competition? Yao Qingsu said. Tang Huan has already signed up for this Foyuan pharmacist competition. Before Yang Xiaoshan, Tang Huan was not only the best in martial arts, but also the best in alchemy. Originally, many people believed that Tang Huan would definitely win the first place in this alchemist competition. However, when the news that Yang Xiaoshan possessed the flame of the earth and the 9 phoenix golden flame spread, many people changed their minds, and said that, if Yang Xiaoshan participated, he would definitely win the first place. Tang Huan stared. I hope he can participate. For so many years, he has been on the road of seeking defeat, but no one among his peers can defeat him. No matter whether it is martial arts or medicine, no one can defeat him. He is standing at the top, which is really lonely. Therefore, he hopes to compete with Yang Xiaoshan in medicine and martial arts. In the evening, Yang Xiaoshan and Mu Yunshan came to Muching. Because Yang Xiaoshan did not want to alarm everyone, and the strange cold poison of the old patriarch of the Mu family needed to be kept secret. Even the disciples of the Mu family did not know that Yang Xiaoshan came to Muching this time. Otherwise, with Yang Xiaoshan's current identity, I'm afraid that countless family disciples in Muching would rush out to greet him. Mu Yunshan brought Yang Xiaoshan into Muching. Muching was very big, and almost all the people who came in and out were Mu family disciples. Of course, there were also many disciples from other chambers of commerce and sects. Many Mu family disciples who passed by saluted Mu Yunshan respectfully. At the same time, they were very curious about Yang Xiaoshan's identity. You know, Mu Yunshin is the daughter of the head of their Mu family. They have never seen Mu Yunshin so close to any man. Besides, Yang Xiaoshan is still a young boy. However, just when Mu Yunshin and Yang Xiaoshan just walked into the Mu mansion, they were stopped by his second uncle's son Mu Fei. Mu Yunshin, who is this kid? You won't forget the family rules, right? Family disciples can't bring outsiders into the Mu mansion casually. Mu Fei said. Mu Yunshin said in a deep voice, this young Master Yang is a distinguished guest invited by Grandpa. A distinguished guest invited by Grandpa? Mu Fei sneered when he heard it. Grandpa would invite this brat who is still wet behind the ears? He looked Yang Xiaoshan up and down, obviously not believing it. Get out of the way. Mu Yunshin shouted, you can't take responsibility if something goes wrong. Mu Fei has always disliked his cousin and sneered when he heard it. I can't take responsibility? Mu Yunshin, what if I don't get out of the way? At this point, he pointed at Yang Xiaoshan and said, no one can bring this kid into the Mu mansion today. What if I do? At this time, a majestic voice sounded. A tall middle-aged man with a few wisps of beard walked out of the mansion. Seeing the middle-aged man, Mu Yunshin's pretty face was overjoyed. Father. The man who came was Mu Haodong, the current head of the Mu family. Mu Haodong nodded and smiled, looking at Mu Fei. You mean, even I can't bring young Master Yang into the Mu mansion? Mu Fei was frightened and bowed, and said with a smile, Uncle, you are joking. Mu Fei just said that for the safety of the Mu mansion. Mu Haodong ignored his nephew Mu Fei, turned around, clasped his fists, and smiled at Yang Xiaoshan. Young Master Yang, the Mu family neglected you. Please don't blame me. This time, Mu Haodong knew that Yang Xiaoshan came to the Mu family. The Mu family is polite. Yang Xiaoshan clasped his fists and smiled. Young Master Yang, please. Then, Mu Haodong invited Yang Xiaoshan into the Mu mansion very politely. Mu Fei looked at Yang Xiaoshan's figure and was full of doubts. After passing through many corridors and rockery pavilions, in the deepest part of the Mu mansion, Yang Xiaoshan finally saw Mu Yunshin's grandfather, Mu Xinyang. At this time, it was hot weather, but in the secret room, Mu Xinyang was shivering all over, and the whole secret room was covered with thick ice. Even Mu Haodong dared only walk into the door of the secret room, not deep into the secret room. Father, young Master Yang is here, he said respectfully. Mu Xinyang, who was shivering with ice and covered with black ice mist, said, okay, young Master Yang will help me with the strange cold poison in my body. If you can cure the strange cold poison in my body, I and the Mu family will be grateful. Yang Xiaoshan shook his head and said, you are too polite, senior. Then he said, Sister Mu said that, if I can cure the strange cold poison in your body, I can choose 3 treasures from the treasure house of the Mu family, right? Of course. Mu Xinyang promised. So, Yang Xiaoshan walked into the depths of the secret room, while Mu Haodong and Mu Yunshin waited outside. Yang Xiaoshan came to Mu Xinyang and summoned the flame of the earth directly. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was dispelling the strange cold poison from Mu Xinyang's body, Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu also came to Mucheng. The arrival of Tathagata Buddha and Cheyenne Lang Goddess in Mucheng naturally shocked the whole city. Mu Fei was even more excited and led all the disciples of the Mu family to greet them. Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu were welcomed into the Mu mansion amid the excitement, awe, and admiration of all the disciples of the Mu family. The one who received Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu was Mu Yunshin's second uncle Mu Hui, who was also Mu Fei's father. After sitting down, after some polite greetings, Tang Huan explained the purpose of his visit. To be honest with you, Senior Mu Hui, we are here to ask for something. Then he said, we heard that there is a damaged True God spaceship in the Mu family treasury. After that, he took out an object and said, we want to use this object to exchange for the damaged True God spaceship. Is it possible? Chapter 309, Offending Foyuan. Mu Hui saw what Tang Huan held in his hand and said in surprise, Heavenly Buddha beads. Heavenly Buddha beads. These were the Buddha beads that Xianfo, the top master of Foyuan, had refined. It is said that Xianfo had left 2 heavenly Buddha beads, but one of them fell into the demon cave in the land of redemption, so now there is only one left. This is the one in Tang Huan's hand. The value of this heavenly Buddha bead can be imagined. I did not expect that Tang Huan would be willing to exchange the Heavenly Buddha bead for the damaged True God spaceship. Yes, Heavenly Buddha beads. Tang Huan said, this Heavenly Buddha bead is the only one in the world now. Then, he took out another object and said, I heard that there is a piece of Xianshan refined iron in the Mu family's treasury. We also want to use this thing to exchange for that piece of Xianshan refined iron. Xianshan Buddha stone. I saw what Tang Huan held in his hand and exclaimed, Xianshan Buddha stone is as valuable as Heavenly Buddha beads. Tang Huan smiled and said, yes, this Xianshan Buddha stone was also used by Lord Xianfo back then. Then he clasped his fists and said, we originally used Xianfo beads and Xianshan Buddha stone to exchange for the damaged True God spaceship and the Xianshan refined iron. Please give them to the Mu family. We are very grateful. I hesitated and said, Buddha-san, goddess, this matter still needs the decision of our family head. Of course. Tang Huan smiled. I smiled and said, Buddha-san and goddess, don't worry, this matter should not be a big problem. So he asked someone to invite his eldest brother Mu Haodang. Mu Haodang was also surprised to learn that Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu came to the Mu mansion. When he learned that Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu came for the True God spaceship and Xianshan refined iron, he couldn't help but smile bitterly, because he had learned from his daughter that Yang Xiaoshan also came for the True God spaceship and Xianshan refined iron. After some thought, Mu Haodang and Mu Yunshan still came out to meet Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu. After some polite exchanges, Mu Haodang said in embarrassment, Buddha, goddess, I'm sorry, we have already given the True God spaceship and Xianshan fine iron to others. Tang Huan's originally confident smile froze. Even Yao Kingsu Feng's calm face frowned. Tang Huan stared at Mu Haodang. Master Mu, did you really give the True God spaceship and Xianshan fine iron to others? Obviously, he didn't believe it. Mu Haodang nodded and said, to be honest with Buddha and goddess, the True God spaceship and Xianshan fine iron were indeed given to others. I wonder who Master Mu gave them to? Tang Huan asked anxiously. Mu Haodang hesitated, not knowing how to answer for a moment. After all, Yang Xiaoshan's identity was a bit sensitive, and he couldn't reveal Yang Xiaoshan's identity without Yang Xiaoshan's consent. Tang Huan saw Mu Haodang mumbling, his face darkened. Have you ever thought about the consequences of offending my Buddha Yuan? Mu Haodang, Mu Mu Yunshan and the Mu family masters present all changed their faces. Mu Haodang was angry, and when he was about to speak, suddenly, a voice sounded, the head of the Mu family gave me the True God spaceship and the innate fine iron. Everyone looked over, and saw Yang Xiaoshan and Mu Xinliang coming out. After some treatment, the strange cold poison in Mu Xinliang's body had been completely dispelled by the flame of the earth. Mu Xinliang was in high spirits. Father, Mu was pleasantly surprised to see that Mu Xinliang was fine. When everyone at the scene saw Mu Xinliang appear, they all stood up to greet him. Even Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu also stood up quickly. Mu Xinliang said to Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu, Buddha's son, goddess, the True God spaceship and the innate fine iron have indeed been given to this little friend. Seeing that even Mu Xinliang said so, Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu's eyes fell on Yang Xiaoshan. The two looked at Yang Xiaoshan, in doubt. Tang Huan said, what's your name, little brother? I'm willing to exchange the Heavenly Buddha beads and the innate Buddha stone for your True God spaceship and innate fine iron. Yang Xiaoshan shook his head and said, I don't need the Heavenly Buddha beads and the innate Buddha stone. What does the little brother need? Tang Huan asked in a deep voice. No matter what you give me, I won't exchange it. Yang Xiaoshan said clearly. If the True God spaceship is repaired, it will be of great use to him. Tang Huan looked unhappy. Even Yao Kingsu was the same. The two of them thought that when they arrived at the Mu family, they would definitely be able to exchange the Heavenly Buddha beads and the innate Buddha stone for the True God spaceship and innate fine iron, but they didn't expect that the Mu family would actually give it to this young boy. Now this young boy also righteously rejected them. Little brother, do you know our identities? Tang Huan couldn't help but get angry. Yang Xiaoshan said indifferently, what your identities are, has nothing to do with me, and I'm not interested. Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu looked unhappy. How dare you, boy, how can we Buddhist disciples be so important? An expert behind Tang Huan said angrily, "We Buddhist disciples are exchanging things with you. That's your luck and blessing from 3 lifetimes." Hearing this, Yang Xiaoshan smiled coldly. "So, you Buddhist disciples want to exchange anything in the world? You look up to each other? Then why don't you Buddhist disciples use the heavenly Buddha beads and the innate Buddha stone to exchange for the Buddha Dragon Pagoda of the Buddhist Yuan imperial family?" The Buddha Dragon Pagoda is the artifact of the Buddhist Yuan imperial family. It is also the strongest artifact of the Buddhist Yuan Empire. The expert behind Tang Huan was furious. "You are looking for death." At this point, the sword energy burst out of his body. Seeing this, Mu Ziniang said, "Buddhist disciples, please respect yourself. This little friend is a distinguished guest of my Mu family." Tang Huan stopped the experts behind him, clasped his fists to Mu Ziniang and said, "It was my men who were reckless." Then he said goodbye to Mu Ziniang and others and left. Before leaving, he was still unwilling to give up, and said to Yang Xiaoshan, "The True God spaceship is badly damaged. In your hands, you can't repair it. It is useless to you. Do you really want to offend my Foyuan for a badly damaged True God spaceship?" Yang Xiaoshan said calmly, "Wait until you control Foyuan." Tang Huan's face changed from gloomy to bright. In the end, Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu left with their men. After leaving Mu Mansion, Tang Huan felt a breath of suffocation in his chest. As a Buddhist student of Foyuan Academy, he has always responded to requests and no one would disobey him. But today, he was ignored by a young boy. Go check what the identity of this young boy is. Tang Huan's eyes were cold. He really wanted to know who this young boy who disobeyed him was. "Don't worry, Buddhist son, I will find out who this guy is," the master behind him said coldly. "Then, let his family elders take him to kneel before you and apologize to you. And let him obediently offer the True God spaceship and the innate fine iron to the Buddhist son." Tang Huan's face looked better, and he said, "Let's go to Donghuang City." Donghuang City is the first city in Donghuang, and belongs to the Buddhist Yuan imperial family. A few days ago, the Lord of Donghuang City broke through the realm of gods, which was a major event in the Buddhist Yuan Empire. Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu obeyed their master's order, and went to Donghuang City, to congratulate the Lord of Donghuang City. This was also one of the main purposes of the two coming to Donghuang this time. When Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu went to Donghuang City, Yang Xiaoshan stayed in Mu City, and began to repair the True God spaceship in the palace, arranged by the Mu family. Chapter 310 East Desert City. It is very difficult to repair a True God spaceship. The most important thing is that too many divine objects are needed. Fortunately, Yang Xiaoshan got enough divine objects in the abyss of hell. Under the burning of Yang Xiaoshan's thunder tribulation divine fire, one divine object after another was continuously integrated into the spaceship. The damaged parts of the spaceship were constantly repaired at a speed visible to the naked eye. One day later, finally, all the damaged parts of the spaceship were repaired. Yang Xiaoshan put it back into the Bilong Shanding, cut a large piece of the skin and bones of the Lord of the Abyss, and threw it in, and recalcined it. More than 10 hours passed. When the spaceship came out of the furnace again, the whole spaceship glowed with a strong light, and the divine light reappeared, as if it was reborn. Looking at the spaceship in front of him, that had merged with the skin of the Lord of the Abyss, Yang Xiaoshan was delighted. After integrating part of the skin and bones of the Lord of the Abyss, this True God spaceship is undoubtedly more powerful. Not only is the defense stronger, but it can also resist the enemy's soul attack. From now on, this spaceship will be called the Abyss spaceship. Yang Xiaoshan said. After the whole spaceship was fused with the skin and bones of the Lord of the Abyss, its appearance had changed greatly, and it was no longer appropriate to call it by the previous name. Therefore, Yang Xiaoshan named it the Abyss spaceship. The Abyss spaceship in front of him exuded the boundless hellish breath of the Lord of the Abyss. The more Yang Xiaoshan looked at it, the more satisfied he was. At this time, footsteps came, and Yang Xiaoshan put away the Abyss spaceship. Then he saw Mu Yunshan walked in. Mu Yunshan changed her usual outfit today, and wore a light green dress. She was charming and pure, but no matter what dress she wore, it was difficult to hide her plump front and round and perky back. She came to Yang Xiaoshan's yard, twisting her button butt. "Brother, the Lord of Donghuang City has broken through the realm of gods. My father plans to take me to Donghuang City. My father asked me to come and ask my brother if he is free. If he is free, we will go together, Mu Yunshin said, and after that, her charming eyes were full of expectations. Go to Dangliang City? Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. Mu Yunshin hummed and said, the lord of Dangliang City belongs to the Buddhist imperial family. His breakthrough to the realm of the gods is a major event in the Buddhist empire. Many superpowers went to congratulate him. Yang Xiaoshan's heart moved. Did the people from Tangshan divine religion go? Mu Yunshin was stunned. He didn't know why Yang Xiaoshan suddenly asked about the people from Tangshan divine religion. When he mentioned Tangshan divine religion, Mu Yunshin was full of awe and shook his head and said, I don't know. When will you set off? Yang Xiaoshan asked. Hearing this, Mu Yunshin suddenly felt hopeful. We will set off in an hour. Okay, then I will go to Dangliang City with you in an hour. Yang Xiaoshan thought about it and said, okay, I will come and call my brother later. Mu Yunshin's pretty face was full of joy, and she said happily, then twisted her butt and went out. After Mu Yunshin left, Yang Xiaoshan practiced the 46th move of Tangshan sword technique in the yard. Now, his black dragon martial soul has merged with the beast soul of the Lord of the Abyss for nearly 2 million years, so he is not in a hurry to enter the soul sea to hunt the deep sea demon Kun. Anyway, before he breaks through the second level of the martial emperor, he just needs to fuse the soul of the deep sea demon Kun beast, so he plans to go to Dangliang City to see if he can meet someone from the Tangshan divine sect. After practicing the Tangshan sword technique for a while, Mu Yunshin and Mu Haodong came to find Yang Xiaoshan and set off for Dangliang City together. Mu Haodong was very happy that Yang Xiaoshan could go to Dangliang City with him, and he almost couldn't stop smiling all the way. Several people went there by the Mu family's spaceship. There were not many people accompanying them. In addition to Mu Haodong and Mu Yunshin, there were also several masters of the holy realm of the Mu family. On the way, Mu Yunshin still came to Yang Xiaoshan on time every day to make tea. However, this time he brewed a rare big dragon tea, a tea leaf grown from a rare dragon tree. This time, Yang Xiaoshan was full of dragon flavor after drinking it. At night, Yang Xiaoshan stood at the bow of the spaceship, looking at the starry sky, but thinking about cultivation. After breaking through the martial emperor realm, his cultivation level improved much more slowly. Even if he took the Supreme 3 Yuan Purple Gold Pill and practiced, it would take about 4 months to break through to the Martial Emperor Realm second stage. For others, this speed is not slow, but for Yang Xiaoshan, it is still too slow. If he can refine a heavenly 3 Yuan Purple Gold Pill that surpasses the Supreme grade, he should be able to break through the Martial Emperor second stage in just 2 months. However, it is difficult to refine a heavenly grade pill. Even if he has the Thunder Tribulation Divine Fire, he cannot refine a heavenly grade pill. Unless he can subdue the 1000 Buddha Divine Fire. If he can subdue the 1000 Buddha Divine Fire of the top 10 Divine Fires, then, by controlling the 2 great Divine Fires, to refine pills at the same time, there is hope to refine a heavenly grade pill. 1000 Buddha Divine Fire. Yang Xiaoshan said to himself. He must find the 1000 Buddha Divine Fire. When this trip to the East Wasteland City is over, he will go to the Land of Redemption and subdue the 1000 Buddha Divine Fire. What are you thinking about, brother? Mu Yunshin walked over and asked with a smile. Yang Xiaoshan smiled and said, I was thinking about how to refine a heavenly elixir. Mu Yunshin was stunned when she heard this, and then she smiled tenderly, like a flower blooming in the dark night, extremely beautiful. It was no wonder that Mu Yunshin smiled tenderly, because even the god of medicine might not be able to refine a heavenly elixir. It has been many years since a heavenly elixir appeared in the Kangshen continent. If someone could refine a heavenly elixir, it would definitely shock many empires. You just know how to make people laugh. Mu Yunshin rolled her eyes at Yang Xiaoshan, full of charm. The devil ancestor Mishan, who was guarding behind Yang Xiaoshan, was fluctuating when he heard Yang Xiaoshan say that he wanted to refine a heavenly elixir. Mu Yunshin couldn't help but look at the devil ancestor Mishan. She was very curious about the identity of this man in black wearing a ghost head mask. As far as she knew, when Yang Xiaoshan first entered the Xianzang Academy, this man in black had not followed Yang Xiaoshan. Later, Yang Xiaoshan and Long Batian went out for a while. When they came back, There was a man in black wearing a ghost head mask beside him. Her father said that this man in black was not simple. Brother, my father said that he wants to introduce you to the Lord of Donghuang City when we go to Donghuang City tomorrow. Mu Yunshin said. With Yang Xiaoshen's current status, the Lord of Donghuang City must be very surprised to see him. Meet the Lord of Donghuang City? Yang Xiaoshen shook his head. No need. Mu Yunshin was disappointed when he heard this, but he didn't force it. He smiled and said, okay, then listen to my brother. The night passed. The morning sun came. Yang Xiaoshen came out of the secret room, bathed in the morning sunshine. His blue robe rustled, and white clouds floated around him, like a person in a fairyland. After a while, Donghuang City was in sight. The Lord of Donghuang City broke through the realm of gods, and all parties came to congratulate him. On the plain outside Donghuang City, the luxurious cars were dazzling. The Mu family is one of the two major families in Donghuang, and the arrival of the Mu family attracted attention from all parties. Who is that young boy? How could he be following the head of the Mu family? Everyone didn't recognize Yang Xiaoshen, so they were all guessing. For an important occasion like this, Mu Haodong could bring someone with him, so he must be very important to him. He shouldn't be a disciple of the Mu family. He's not a disciple of the Mu family, but the head of the Mu family brought him with him. It's strange. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 311. We can cooperate with Hikayan. Just as everyone was guessing about Yang Xiaoshen's identity, a hearty voice rang out. A group of people were seen approaching from a distance. They were none other than the masters of the He family, who had always been at odds with the Mu family. Hikayan, the head of the He family, smiled at Mu Haodong and said, Brother Mu, what a coincidence. Then he smiled and said, Brother Mu, it's easy to travel, but you only bring a few people, and 2 juniors. Aren't you afraid of accidents on the road? Mu Haodong looked at the smiling tiger Hikayan, and didn't pretend to be nice to him. He said coldly, I have never done anything wrong in my life, and I'm not afraid of ghosts knocking on my door at midnight. Unlike you, you have done too many wrong things, and you have to bring a large number of masters wherever you go. Hikayan's face changed, but he didn't get angry. He laughed dryly, his eyes fell on Mu Yunshin, and smiled. My little niece is getting more and more beautiful. Then he smiled. No wonder my little third son talks about my little niece every day. At this time, He-jun behind Hikayan stepped forward and clasped his fists to Mu Yunshin and smiled. He-jun meets Sister Mu. He-jun is Hikayan's third son. He is also the younger brother of He-zen from the Xianzang Academy. Mu Yunshin looked at He-jun, who was smiling, and did not hide his disgust. Who is your sister? Hikayan said half jokingly. My niece is naturally beautiful. My third son told me today that, if he met my niece, he would ask me to propose to him. Mu Haodong's face changed, and he said coldly, Hikayan, no matter who my daughter marries, she will never marry someone from your He family. If you keep talking nonsense, I will deal with you now. After that, he took Mu Yunshin and Yang Xiaoshen into Donghuang City. Hikayan looked at the figures of Mu Haodong and others going away and smiled coldly. Father, I must marry Mu Yunshin. He-jun stared at Mu Yunshin's round back, and swallowed his saliva. Hikayan glanced at his third son and frowned. After the Mu family is destroyed, Mu Yunshin will be yours sooner or later. Then he sneered. All the women in the Mu family will belong to our He family by then. Then he led the He family into Donghuang City. When Mu Haodong and Hikayan arrived, the city lord's mansion of Donghuang City quickly sent people to warmly welcome them, and then arranged a superior palace for Yang Xiaoshen and others. Not long after Yang Xiaoshen and others arrived, Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu also arrived. The arrival of the Tathagata Buddha and the Dragon Goddess also shocked Donghuang City. Masters from all families and tribes in Donghuang City came out to welcome them. In a way, Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu, the Tathagata Buddha and the Dragon Goddess, have a greater influence than the older generation of Mu Haodong and Hikayan. Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu would be fanatically admired in any city, country, or sect in the Buddhist origin, but Mu Haodong and Yikan might not be. When Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu arrived, Deng Chuan, the city lord of Donghuang City, was also very surprised and happy. Since the banquet was tomorrow, Deng Chuan also arranged a palace for Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu to live in. At night, when Tang Huan was studying the manuscript of the Thousand Buddhas Medicine God, his subordinates reported to him, "Sir, I just got the news that the head of the Mu family also brought that boy to Donghuang City today." Oh. Tang Huan was surprised. That young boy is coming too? Yes, in addition to that young boy, there is also Mu Yunshan, and 2 old ancestors of the 10th level of the Holy Realm. His subordinates said. Tang Huan was puzzled. Mu Haodong actually brought this young boy with him. Obviously, he was very surprised. Generally speaking, in such occasions, Mu Haodong brought the closest people. But that young boy was definitely not from the Mu family. In the past few days, he asked his subordinates to check the young boy and only knew that he was brought back by Mu Yunshan. Mu Yunshan was very close to him, even a little too close. "Sir, this is a good opportunity," his subordinate said. "Mu Haodong didn't bring many experts this time, so it's a good opportunity for us to take action. When they return to the road, we can send people to rob the True God spaceship and Xianshan refined done. And Yikan, the head of the He family, is here too. Yikan might also attack Mu Haodong on his way back. We can cooperate with Yikan. He kills Mu Haodong, and we rob the True God spaceship and Xianshan refined done." Hearing this, Tang Huan was tempted. After all, the damaged True God spaceship and Xianshan refined iron are very useful to him. He has even collected all the materials to repair the True God spaceship, and he must get the spaceship. Besides, even if the people of the Mu family know about it later, they will not dare to blame you, because it was Yikan who killed Mu Haodong, and we are only dealing with that kid. His subordinate said again. Tang Huan pondered and said, "Continue to check the identity of that young boy." "Yes, sir." Just as Tang Huan's men continued to investigate Yang Xiaoshan's identity, Mu Yunshan came to Yang Xiaoshan's yard and took Yang Xiaoshan out to stroll around Donghuang City. Donghuang City is the largest city in Donghuang. It is very prosperous. Even at night, it is full of lights and people are constantly shuttling. However, just as Mu Yunshan and Yang Xiaoshan were strolling around, they saw He-jun and several masters of the He family coming towards them. He-jun came in front of Mu Yunshan and smiled. "Sister Mu, what a coincidence. Sister is also out for a stroll?" Obviously, this was not a coincidence, but He-jun deliberately came out to run into Mu Yunshan. He-jun did not hide the fire in his eyes and kept staring at Mu Yunshan's plump and huge front. Mu Yunshan glared and said, "He-jun, who is your sister? If you keep pestering me, don't blame me for being rude to you." After that, he took Yang Xiaoshan and was about to leave. He-jun was scolded by Mu Yunshan, but when he saw Mu Yunshan holding Yang Xiaoshan so closely, he couldn't help but get angry. He rushed forward and stopped Yang Xiaoshan. "Boy, Mu Yunshan is my woman. If you dare to get close to her, I will chop off your hands." As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Xiaoshan punched directly. Boom. It was still the peak of Shura power. It hit the opponent's belly. He-jun was thrown into the air and smashed hundreds of meters away. Then he kept rolling on the ground and spitting blood. "What did you say just now? Say it again." Yang Xiaoshan looked at him indifferently. He-jun felt that his courage and sweat were blown out, so he couldn't speak. Seeing this, several of his men were furious and rushed towards Yang Xiaoshan together. However, as soon as they hit Yang Xiaoshan, they were blocked by an invisible force. Their power hit the invisible force. Not only could they not break it, but they were shaken and flew backwards again and again, falling farther than He-jun. The one who made the move was the Devil Ancestor of Destruction. The Devil Ancestor of Destruction looked at them coldly. He-jun and his men looked at the Devil Ancestor of Destruction in shock. You know, the men of He-jun were all at the 10th level of the Emperor Realm. The only one who could knock him away in one fell swoop was the Saint Realm. Yang Xiaoshan left with Mu Yunshan. When passing in front of He-jun, He-jun was so scared that he kept moving his butt. After Yang Xiaoshan and his men disappeared in the crowd, He-jun dared to stand up tremblingly. Chapter 312. My medicine making skills are not to your liking? Several of Heejun's men also stood up tremblingly and came to Heejun. Go back. Heejun shouted almost hoarsely before they could speak. However, just as he finished speaking, his stomach hurt so much that he spurted out another mouthful of blood. Half an hour later, in the palace, arranged by the city lord's mansion of Donghyang City, Heejun looked at his son Heejun's stomach with a gloomy face. He saw that Heejun's stomach was swollen, like he was pregnant. The fist mark on his belly was really scary. Around the fist mark, the black fist force formed a scary pattern, which vaguely looked like Ashura. An ancestor of the He family saw this pattern and his face was solemn. It's Shura force. And it's Shura force at the pinnacle. Many He family masters present changed their faces when they heard about Shura force. How can this young boy have Shura force? Is he a member of the Shura demon cult? A He family master asked in surprise. The Shura demon cult was a demon in the Foyan Empire. However, it was later destroyed by the Peacock clan. This young boy, at such a young age, has already cultivated Shura power to the pinnacle. His talent is extraordinary. Another master of the He family said solemnly. However, Heejun cried to Heejun, "Father, I must kill this kid." Heejun looked at the several He family ancestors present and said, "Just now, the people of Tathagata Buddha came over and said they wanted to cooperate with us. When the Mu family returns to the road, we will kill them. We will kill Mu Haodang and leave this young boy to them." The He family ancestors looked at each other and did not speak. If Mu Haodang is killed, it will undoubtedly be a declaration of war on the Mu family. This matter is of great importance. While the people of the He family were discussing whether to cooperate with Tang Huan, Yang Xiaoshan and Mu Yunshan went around and returned to the yard. They took out the burial heaven sword and practiced the burial heaven sword technique for a while. With the innate refined iron, he has completely repaired the burial heaven sword. With the burial heaven sword, the burial heaven sword technique is extremely powerful when it is performed, which is much stronger than many of the supreme magical sword techniques that Yang Xiaoshan has practiced before. Yang Xiaoshan was practicing the heaven burial sword art, while Tang Huan was studying the manuscript of the Thousand Buddha Medicine God. The Land of Redemption. Tang Huan said to himself. After his research over the past few days, the Thousand Buddha's divine fire of the Thousand Buddha Medicine God is very likely to be in the Land of Redemption and their Buddha Yuan. However, he only verified that the Thousand Buddha's divine fire is in the Land of Redemption. As for where exactly it is in the Land of Redemption, he still needs to find more information. The second day, the entire East Wasteland City Lord's mansion was unusually lively. East Wasteland City Lord Deng Chuan asked someone to invite Mu Haodang, Yang Xiaoshan and others to attend the banquet. When they arrived, the banquet was already full. Due to the limited seats in the hall, Yang Xiaoshan and Mu Yunshan could only stand behind Mu Haodang. Mu Haodang felt uncomfortable when he saw Yang Xiaoshan standing behind him, and he was uncomfortable no matter how he sat. Many family heads who knew Mu Haodang well felt strange when they saw Mu Haodang's sitting posture. After a while, Heejun, Tang Huan, Yao Kingsu and others arrived. Heejun, Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu came together. Heejun followed behind Heejun and came in with his back bent. When he saw Yang Xiaoshan, his eyes almost spit out the fire of the sun. That look made him want to smack Yang Xiaoshan's butt. Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu sat opposite Mu Haodang. Heejun sat next to Mu Haodang. After Deng Chuan arrived, the banquet began. There was laughter and joy. After 4 rounds of wine, Deng Chuan suddenly said to Tang Huan, "I heard that Buddhist disciples can refine medicine without a medicine cauldron. I have never seen such a method. I wonder if it can open my eyes today." As soon as Deng Chuan said this, the hall exploded. "What? You can refine medicine without a medicine cauldron? This is impossible. If you can really refine medicine without a medicine cauldron, it would be a miracle." Master Deng Chuan said this. "I'm afraid it's true." Everyone was shocked, unbelievable, and talked about it. Tang Huan, who was originally the focus of everyone, became the focus of everyone. Even Mu Haodang, Heejun and other family heads were all moved. Mu Yunshan was also surprised and obviously had never heard of such a magical method. Buddha, I have been refining medicine for thousands of years, and I have never seen medicine made without a medicine cauldron. I wonder if this method can open our eyes. An old ancestor of the family said excitedly. Yes, Buddha, I wonder if we are lucky enough to see such a miracle today. One after another, the old ancestor of the family said excitedly. Hearing this, Tang Huan stood up and clasped his fists to Deng Chuan and everyone else, saying, I have also mastered the method of refining medicine without a medicine cauldron. My skills are still rough, but since Lord Deng Chuan and the old ancestors want to see it, Tang Huan will show off his ugliness. When everyone heard Tang Huan admit that he could refine medicine without a medicine cauldron, they were even more excited. Especially those female disciples of the family. They stared at Tang Huan with their eyes full of sparkles. It was as if they were staring at a white dragon prince. Amid the uproar and excitement of everyone, Tang Huan walked out of his seat, came to the center of the hall, and then took out 14 kinds of medicinal materials. He smiled at everyone and said, I have only mastered the initial control of refining medicine without a medicine cauldron. Now, I can only refine the foundation building spirit liquid without a medicine cauldron. Please don't be surprised, seniors. Deng Chuan quickly said, it is a miracle to be able to refine the foundation building spirit liquid without a medicine cauldron. How can we be surprised? The other ancestors and family heads also spoke up to agree. Tang Huan nodded and then came to the 14 kinds of medicinal materials. Everyone fell silent, not blinking for a moment, for fear of missing any link to witness the miracle. Seeing that Tang Huan could also refine medicine without a medicine cauldron, Yang Xiaoshan also concentrated on watching his movements to see if there was anything worth learning. Under the gaze of everyone, Tang Huan suddenly stretched out his hands. Fire. Immediately, all the fires of heaven and earth within a kilometer range roared towards his hands. Everyone was surprised to see this. Tang Huan, an emperor, could control the fire of heaven and earth within a kilometer range. Such soul power is absolutely amazing. Even Deng Chuan was amazed when he saw this. Then, Tang Huan waved his hands, and a flame flew towards one of the medicinal materials. At the same time, with his other hand, he controlled the medicinal material to fly up from the ground. Wrapped in the fire of heaven and earth, the medicinal material began to melt slowly. Then, Tang Huan did the same thing, controlling the fire of heaven and earth to melt another medicinal material. Under the nervous eyes of everyone, the 14 medicinal materials melted one by one. Finally, Tang Huan controlled the fire of heaven and earth to condense a fire cauldron. When everyone saw Tang Huan using the fire of heaven and earth to build a fire cauldron, their eyes widened. There were many alchemy masters present, and they had never seen anyone use the fire of heaven and earth to build a fire cauldron. When the fire cauldron was built, Tang Huan controlled the melted liquid of the 14 medicinal materials to drip into the fire cauldron. Everyone held their breath. Time passed, and finally, the smell of medicine came out from the fire cauldron. A portion of green liquid appeared in front of everyone. It's done. I really refined the foundation building spiritual liquid. A miracle. The miracle of my Foyan empire. No, it's a miracle in the history of alchemy in my Wuhan world. The ancestors and clan masters at the scene were shocked and excited. Even Deng Chuan, Mu Haodang, He Kan and others were amazed. Yang Xiaoshan was disappointed. He originally wanted to see if there was anything worth learning from Tang Huan's medicine refining skills, but his medicine refining skills were really clumsy, and the fire cauldron he built was not stable at all. The foundation building spiritual liquid he finally refined was only of the best quality. Before he entered the True Dragon sect, he could easily refine the best foundation building spiritual liquid without using a medicine cauldron. Tang Huan was delighted to see that he had refined the best foundation building spiritual liquid. Before, the foundation building spiritual liquid he had refined was only of the highest quality. Today, he could refine the best quality, which was an extraordinary performance. He was just feeling proud of himself, but suddenly saw Yang Xiaoshan shaking his head in disappointment, and he couldn't help but get angry. This little brother has been shaking his head there, but do you think that my medicine refining skills are not to your liking? Everyone quieted down and looked at Yang Xiaoshan in unison. Chapter 313 Only one hand. What? This kid actually dared to laugh at the Buddha. It's a miracle to refine medicine without using a medicine cauldron. This idiot actually dared to laugh at it. Suddenly, everyone stared at Yang Xiaoshan with a look of wanting to kill him, like an angry Lion King. He-chan, who had just been blasted by Yang Xiaoshan last night, found a way to vent his anger, kneeled down and apologized to the Buddha. As soon as He-chan said this, many family disciples were also furious. That's right, kneel down and apologize to the Buddha. The crowd was indignant and cursed. Even Deng Chuan, the lord of Dongliang City, looked at Mu Haodong. Master Mu, did you bring this boy? His tone was full of dissatisfaction and displeasure. Obviously, he was blaming Mu Haodong for bringing such an ignorant young boy to such an important occasion. Mu Haodong didn't know how to explain it for a while. Yang Xiaoshan glanced at the angry He-chan and others calmly, and said calmly, it's just that I don't need to use a medicine cauldron to refine medicine. I don't need to use a medicine cauldron. I can easily refine the best foundation building spirit liquid with just one hand. Since refining the best foundation building spirit liquid without the medicine cauldron a few years ago, Yang Xiaoshan often tried to refine medicine without the medicine cauldron. After a few years, he could already refine medicine with one hand, and he could refine the best taking UI pill. Not to mention the entry-level pill of the best foundation building spirit liquid. However, as soon as Yang Xiaoshan said this, the hall was furious. You can easily refine the best foundation building spirit liquid without the medicine cauldron, and with one hand. Where did this idiot come from? Throw this idiot out of the hall. No, drive him out of Dongliang City. Drive him out of Dongliang, so that he can never set foot in our Dongliang again. The disciples and masters of each sect were furious and indignant. Deng Chuan saw that the young man brought by Mu Haodong was getting more and more outrageous, and he also got angry. Tang Huan was even more angry. He could easily refine the best foundation building spirit liquid without using a medicine cauldron and only using one hand. What did this young boy mean? Was he saying that his medicine refining skills were not as good as his? He was the best medicine refiner of the younger generation in the Foyuan Empire, but he was not as good as a boy of 12 or 13. He stared at Yang Xiaoshan with cold eyes. Okay, don't say I didn't give you a chance. If you can refine the best foundation building spirit liquid without using a medicine cauldron and only using one hand, I will worship you as my master. When Tang Huan said this, everyone was stunned. But Yang Xiaoshan shook his head and said, no need. I'm not interested in taking in a disciple. When everyone heard this, they glared at Yang Xiaoshan even more. Even Tang Huan's face was livid. This kid actually said that he was not interested in taking him in as a disciple. What he meant was that he was sure to win. Tang Huan stared at Yang Xiaoshan with cold eyes. Okay, if you can refine the best foundation building spirit liquid with one hand without using the medicine cauldron, I will kneel down and apologize to you. If you can't do it, you kneel down and apologize to me. Mu Haodong was about to speak. Yang Xiaoshan jumped up and landed in front of Tang Huan. Without saying a word, he took out 14 kinds of medicinal herbs. These 14 kinds of medicinal herbs are exactly the medicinal herbs for refining the foundation building spirit liquid. However, Yang Xiaoshan's 14 kinds of medicinal herbs are just ordinary medicinal herbs, unlike the medicinal herbs Tang Huan used just now, which are all top grade medicinal herbs. Then, Yang Xiaoshan stretched out one hand. Fire. The world was silent. When He-chan was about to mock, suddenly, the space within a radius of 10 miles around him shook violently. Then, a sound like a tsunami sounded. Everyone was shocked. What's going on? Just when everyone was surprised, suddenly, they saw that endless fire from heaven and earth roared from all directions of heaven and earth, like an endless sea, with no end in sight. Looking at this violent and boundless sea of fire, everyone was shocked. Even Mu Haodong and Mu Yunshan were stunned. How terrifying soul power is needed to control such a terrifying fire of heaven and earth. Tang Huan's control of the fire of heaven and earth within a kilometer range just now was already shocking, but compared with the fire of heaven and earth controlled by Yang Xiaoshan, it was just like a firefly. It was so weak. Tang Huan was also stunned when he looked at the fire of heaven and earth that filled the sky and the ground. Yao Kingsu was also full of disbelief. It was hard to tell that this little boy of 12 or 13 years old actually had such a terrifying soul power. Jun shouted. Even if the soul power is strong, it doesn't mean that the medicine refining method is strong. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw Yang Xiaoshan waved his hand, and the fire of heaven and earth suddenly turned into a ball of fire cloud, which condensed over the 14 kinds of medicinal materials. Then, like rain, sparks kept falling from the fire cloud. All the sparks hit the 14 kinds of medicinal materials accurately and silently. Some sparks were bigger, and some were smaller. The larger sparks fell on the medicinal materials that were difficult to melt, and the smaller sparks fell on the medicinal materials that were easy to melt. Everyone was stunned. Is this possible? They had never thought that there would be a pharmacist who could refine 14 kinds of medicinal materials at the same time. Some skilled pharmacists could refine 2 medicinal materials at the same time, and some extremely skilled pharmacists could even refine 3 medicinal materials at the same time. But no pharmacist has ever been able to refine 4 or 5 medicinal materials at the same time. As for refining more than 10 medicinal materials at the same time, they had never heard of such means, and had never seen such means. Therefore, they were all stunned when they saw that Yang Xiaoshan was going to refine 14 kinds of medicinal materials at the same time. Refining 14 kinds of medicinal materials at the same time, even the medicine saint can't do it. Tang Huan shook his head and sneered. He can't succeed. Yao Qingsu also shook her head. She felt that the young boy in front of her could not succeed. Even her master couldn't refine 14 kinds of medicinal materials at the same time. How could this young boy succeed? It seems that this young boy is too eager for success and too reckless. Suddenly, the sparks on the fire cloud sped up again. Previously, a batch of sparks fell in 1 second, but now, it was even faster. As countless sparks fell, the 14 medicinal materials were constantly wrapped by sparks. Soon, all 14 medicinal materials melted at the same time. Seeing that all 14 medicinal materials melted successfully at the same time, many people couldn't believe that they were all melted successfully. You know, it is extremely difficult to control 14 flames at the same time. If you are not careful, one of the medicinal materials may be burned to ashes. However, now only a single melting is successful, and all the medicinal liquids need to be fused together. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan controlled the 14 melted medicinal liquids, and began to fuse them together one by one. 2, 3, 4. Finally, all 14 medicinal liquids were successfully fused. Before everyone could react, the fire of heaven and earth that condensed into the fire cloud suddenly changed violently, and became a fire tripod. This fire tripod was very large and very bright. The melted liquid after the 14 medicinal materials were fused dripped into the fire tripod. Chapter 314. Double palm sweeping the 13 continents. Everyone was looking at the fire cauldron nervously. You could hear a pin drop in the hall. Even Tang Huan was so nervous that he clenched his fists without realizing it. Deng Chuan, the lord of East Wasteland City, also stared at the fire cauldron without blinking. Mu Yunshin could even hear her own heartbeat. Jun also stared at the fire cauldron, hoping that it would suddenly explode, but the green medicine liquid in the fire cauldron became brighter and brighter. The fragrance of the elixir soon spread out, and became stronger and stronger. Finally, after a burst of bright light, the fire cauldron dissipated, and a bowl of charming green medicine liquid floated in front of everyone. Looking at the green medicine liquid in front of them, everyone was stunned. Tang Huan's face was even more ugly. Top grade foundation building spiritual liquid. Finally, Deng Chuan, the lord of East Wasteland City, spoke to break the oppressive silence of the hall. Top grade foundation building spiritual liquid. When Deng Chuan spoke, everyone's heart was shocked, incredible, incomprehensible, shocked, and horrified. They looked at the top grade foundation building spiritual liquid in front of them, but still felt it was unreal and still couldn't believe it. It actually worked. Without using a medicine cauldron, he refined the best foundation building spirit liquid with just one hand. How is it possible? Tang Huan's men still didn't believe it. Their young master was known as the best master of the younger generation of alchemy in the Foyuan Empire. It was a miracle that he could refine medicine without using a medicine cauldron, but the young boy in front of him was even more evil than their young master. Without using a medicine cauldron, he refined a pill of higher quality with just one hand. And it took less time. It only took dozens of breaths. and the power of his soul was even stronger. Terribly strong. Yang Xiaoshan looked at Tang Huan, who looked incredible, and said, "You lost. You lost." Yang Xiaoshan's words were like thunder from the sky, exploding in Tang Huan's mind. Tang Huan's face turned pale. He had always been extremely confident in his talent for alchemy, especially after he figured out how to refine medicine without using a medicine cauldron. He felt that his talent for alchemy was enough to amaze the world, but now, he actually lost to a young boy. He actually lost. Thinking of the oath he had just made, his face turned green and red. As a Buddhist disciple of the Buddhist Empire, did he really have to kneel down and apologize to the young boy in front of him? At this moment, everyone remembered the oath Tang Huan had made just now, and their faces became complicated. Feeling the gazes of the crowd, Tang Huan took a deep breath, clasped his fists, and said to Yang Xiaoshan, "I'm ignorant, and don't know how high the sky is, and how big the earth is. I was biased in my words just now, little brother, I'm sorry." No matter what, he couldn't kneel down. Deng Chuan, the lord of Donghuang City, was a close friend of Tang Huan's master. At this time, he also spoke to help Tang Huan out and said, the Buddhist disciple's words just now were just a momentary mistake. Since the Buddhist disciple has also apologized, then let's leave it at that. Tang Huan breathed a sigh of relief, bowed to Deng Chuan, and was about to return to his seat and sit down. Seeing that he hadn't spoken yet and Tang Huan hadn't asked for his opinion at all, Yang Xiaoshan returned to his seat and said calmly, "Just say sorry, and everything will be fine." Tang Huan couldn't help but stop and looked at Yang Xiaoshan coldly. "What else do you want? What else do I want?" Hearing this, Yang Xiaoshan said expressionlessly, "Kneel down and apologize." Tang Huan couldn't help but get angry. "Boy, don't push your luck." Deng Chuan was also annoyed. He had just spoken, but he didn't expect that this young boy would still insist on not getting around and not knowing the limits. He couldn't help but look at Mu Haodong. "Master Mu, what do you think about this?" Mu Haodong smiled bitterly. "I can't make the decision on this matter either." With Yang Xiaoshan's current status, how could he make the decision on Yang Xiaoshan's behalf? Deng Chuan, He Khan and others were all surprised. Wasn't this young boy a junior brought by Mu Haodong? Mu Haodong was the master of the Mu family, but he couldn't make the decision on this young boy. Who was this young boy? At this moment, everyone suddenly realized that the identity of this young boy was probably not simple. "Boy, who do you think you are? How dare you ask my son to kneel down and apologize to you?" Tang Huan's men were furious when they saw that Yang Xiaoshan actually dared to ask them to kneel down and apologize. At this point, he suddenly rushed up and punched Yang Xiaoshan. With one punch, the holy power roared. It was a holy realm, and he was a master of the 10th level of the holy realm. However, just as he hit Yang Xiaoshan, suddenly, a fist blasted across the sky, and the devilish energy rolled, like the arrival of the world-destroying devil. Boom. The two fists collided. Tang Huan's 10th level holy realm subordinate screamed, shot out, and hit the stone pillar behind the hall. With a loud bang, the stone pillar was about to fall. Everyone was shocked and looked at the devil ancestor of destruction who was wearing a ghost head mask beside Yang Xiaoshan. Demigod, devil ancestor of destruction. Deng Chuan suddenly spoke. When everyone heard it, they were all shocked. Even Mu Haodong and Mu Yunshan were shocked. These black-clothed men wearing ghost masks and following Yang Xiaoshan turned out to be the famous demon ancestor Mishan. Tang Huan, Yao Kingsu, He Khan and others were all shocked. The hall was silent for a while. Deng Chuan looked at Yang Xiaoshan with a serious face. Who is this young man? He really couldn't figure out who this young boy was, who could make a demigod like Mishan Mozu willing to follow him. Generally speaking, only powerful gods and spirits can make demigods follow them. But this young boy in front of him was not a god at all. Suddenly, a disciple in the crowd looked at Yang Xiaoshan excitedly and said in a trembling voice, I know who he is." Everyone looked at the disciple. Fighting 3,000 emperors with one hand and sweeping across 13 continents with two palms. The disciple said excitedly. Fighting 3,000 emperors with one hand and sweeping across 13 continents with two palms. As soon as the words came out, everyone looked at Yang Xiaoshan in shock. Yang Xiaoshan. Tang Huan and Yao Kingsu shouted in unison. Yang Xiaoshan. The young boy in front of them was Yang Ocean, who had swept across the 13 continents with his palms. Many disciples in the hall were excited, worshipful, and fanatically looking at Yang Ocean. Yang God. He is Yang God. My Yang God. After the battle between Yang Ocean and Wei Zhangyuan, Yang Ocean not only received the evaluation of fighting against 3,000 emperors alone, and sweeping across the 13 continents with his palms, but also many masters of Foyuan called him Yang God. The disciple who recognized Yang Ocean before was so excited that he almost fainted. At that time, Yang Ocean fought with Wei Zhangyuan at Wangshan Peak. How shocking, how exciting it was that he couldn't help himself. He was lucky enough to go and see it, but there were too many people, and he stood too far away, so he couldn't see Yang Ocean's appearance clearly. Just now, when he saw Yang Ocean behind Mu Haodang, he felt that Yang Ocean looked familiar. Later, Yang Ocean refined the best foundation building spirit liquid without using the medicine cauldron. He suddenly thought of the figure on Wangshan Peak who fought against 3,000 emperors alone. The more he thought about it, the more excited he became. The more he looked, the more excited he became. Deng Chuan was also shocked. He didn't expect that the young boy in front of him was Yang Ocean. Chapter 315 The Bear Returns. Everyone was shocked that the young boy in front of them was Yang Ocean. At the same time, everyone thought of Tang Huan's defeat to Yang Ocean just now, and then they were relieved. No wonder. In the entire Foyuan, who can beat Tang Huan, the son of Tathagata Buddha, in refining medicine? It is estimated that only Yang Shen, who possesses the flame of the earth and the 9 phoenix golden flame, can do it. After the battle at Wangshan Peak, many people have been speculating about Yang Ocean's talent for refining medicine. Now, they finally know Yang Ocean's talent for refining medicine. Without a medicine cauldron, one hand, and dozens of breaths, he can refine a top-grade foundation building spiritual liquid. This kind of talent for refining medicine is also unique in the ages. Is this going to surpass the ancient thousand Buddha medicine god? In the hall, an old ancestor of the sect looked at Yang Ocean and said excitedly. Everyone was in a state of shock. In ancient times, the thousand Buddha medicine god was the first medicine god of their Foyuan empire and the strongest medicine god of their Foyuan. Not only was he the strongest in martial arts, but he was also the strongest in refining medicine. In the hall, everyone could not calm down for a long time. After learning about Yang Ocean's identity, Deng Chuan, the lord of Donghuang City who originally favored Tang Huan, also fell silent. Tang Huan has the Foyuan Academy behind him, but Yang Ocean has the Xianzhang Academy behind him. And behind Yang Ocean, there is also a Ji Wudi. Thinking of the invincible sword ancestor Ji Wudi, Deng Chuan felt terrified. The magic sky sword god killed the 4 powerful gods with one sword, but even an existence like the magic sky sword god is still just a little brother in front of the invincible sword ancestor Ji Wudi. What's more, Deng Chuan is a god who has just broken through. Deng Chuan didn't speak. Tang Huan felt like a thorn in his back. In the end, under the gaze of the devil ancestor Mishan and everyone, Tang Huan knelt down and apologized to Yang Ocean. When he knelt down, Tang Huan's face turned purple. After getting up, Tang Huan naturally had no face to stay any longer, so he said goodbye to Deng Chuan, and then left with everyone, looking very embarrassed. When Yao Qingsu left, she glanced at Yang Ocean with curiosity in her eyes. In fact, she and Tang Huan were not close. Tang Huan was from Foyuan College, and she was from Xianlang Temple. The two of them were just masters of the same clan. Seeing the departure of Tang Huan, the son of Tathagata Buddha, everyone in the hall sighed. Deng Chuan looked at Yang Ocean, smiled, and said, young friend Yang, you are so good at refining medicine. There is no one before and no one after. It is eye-opening and admiring. Thank you, senior. Yang Ocean clasped his fists. The hall did not seem cold because of Tang Huan's departure. Instead, it became more lively because of Yang Ocean's appearance. After the banquet, the ancestors and heads of all parties cordially invited Yang Ocean, hoping that Yang Ocean would visit their sects and families when he was free in the future. At this time, Tang Huan, who had already left Donghuang City, clenched his fists and his eyes flashed with a terrifying cold light. Sir, He can't just send someone to pass on the message that he will no longer cooperate with us. One of Tang Huan's men grumbled. It means that they will no longer join forces to kill Yang Xiaoshan and Mu Haodong. Originally, He Kan had been tempted to join forces, but now he has cancelled it. Although he had expected this result, Tang Huan's face became even uglier when he heard the news. Sir, what happened today was just an accident. A Saint Realm ancestor behind Tang Huan said, if Yang Xiaoshan participates in the Foyuan pharmacist competition, you will definitely be able to defeat him. They all agreed with Tang Huan's high level of medicine refining. They felt that, if it was just a simple competition, Tang Huan would definitely win. Tang Huan can now refine the top grade Sinuan Zijin pill, and victory and defeat are common. Another Saint Realm ancestor said, young master, don't worry about it. Yang Xiaoshan may not be able to refine the top grade Sinuan purple gold pill. Tang Huan took a deep breath and said, don't worry, I won't take such a small matter to heart. I have never lost in all these years. Today's defeat is actually a good thing for me. I will take shame as courage and redouble my efforts. I will defeat Yang Xiaoshan to wash away today's shame. Tang Huan's words made his subordinates praise him. Good. A man should be so ambitious. Young master will surely become a peerless overlord in the future. Shake the world. After the banquet, Yang Xiaoshan also left Donghuang City with Mu Haodong and others. However, Yang Xiaoshan did not accompany Mu Haodong and others back to Mu's house. On the way, he said goodbye to Mu Haodong. Mu Haodong saw that Yang Xiaoshan was determined to leave, so he didn't want to keep Yang Xiaoshan anymore. He just asked Yang Xiaoshan to come to Mu's house as a guest in the future. Mu Yunshin looked at Yang Xiaoshan who was leaving, feeling empty in his heart, uncomfortable. After separating from the people of the Mu family, Yang Xiaoshan directly summoned the Abyss spaceship and flew quickly to the Buddha's land of redemption. This time, he must find the 1000 Buddha's divine fire. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was flying to the Buddha's land of redemption, a piece of land far away from the Kangshen continent was filled with death and demonic energy. Here, it was all desolate, dead and depressing. This is the ancient demon battlefield of the Wuhan world. It is also one of the several major battlefields in the Wuhan world. Even the Emperor Realm dare not set foot in the ancient demon battlefield. If the Emperor Realm enters, he will surely die. Suddenly, in the ancient demon battlefield, the monstrous demonic energy was torn apart by an extremely huge bear paw, and a Kang bear that blocked out the sun appeared above the ancient demon battlefield. The Lord of the Abyss filled the entire Hell Abyss. The body of this Kang bear was so large that it was comparable to the Lord of the Abyss. The Kangshan appeared and roared to the sky. The roar shook for who knows how many miles. Countless dead spirits were blown away, and many dead spirits hidden in the depths of space were directly destroyed. The power of the roar was so terrifying. The Kangshan flew back to the Kangshan continent. This Kangshan was the mount of the Lord of Kangshan in the past, the ancient mythical beast Kangshan. In the past few years, it was not in the Kangshan continent, but entered the ancient demon battlefield to find the Kangshan suit that the Lord of Kangshan had lost. The Kangshan took a step and was already thousands of miles away. A few days later, it returned to the Kangshan mansion in the Kangshan continent. The Kangshan mansion was the force created by the Lord of Kangshan in the past. It has been standing until now. It is also the most powerful force in the Kangshan continent and guards the Kangshan continent. Welcome back senior. Zheng Yangjiang, the Lord of the Kangshan mansion, saw the Kangshan return and hurried forward to say respectfully. Kang Xiang changed and became a tall middle-aged man. He nodded to Zheng Yangjiang and asked, I haven't been here for a few years. Nothing happened, right? Zheng Yangjiang quickly replied, nothing happened. Thinking of something, he hesitated and said, however, a few days ago, there was an unusual movement in the Hell Abyss of the Soul Beast Forest. The Hell Abyss is moving. Kang Xiang was immediately alert and stopped when he heard it. Yes, a few days ago, someone entered the Hell Abyss and fought with that person. Zheng Yangjiang said with a very solemn face. At that time, everyone saw a terrifying golden light column, and the entire Soul Beast Forest was illuminated by it. Kang Xiang was shocked. Who was it that could fight with the person in the abyss so hard? If the senior doesn't come back, we dare not rush into the Hell Abyss to find out. Zheng Yangjiang said. Kang Xiang stared in the direction of the Soul Beast Forest. I'm going to the Hell Abyss now. Chapter 316 Grandpa's Grandpa. Senior, are you going there in person? Zheng Yangjiang was startled. Kang Xiang said in a heavy voice, it's about that person, I have to go there in person. Then he asked Zheng Yangjiang to wait for his news, took a step forward, and disappeared into the sky in the blink of an eye. After a while, Kang Xiang appeared above the Soul Beast Forest. Since hiding his aura was useless, he simply didn't hide his aura, and went to the Hell Abyss. At this moment, all the disciples and soul beasts in the Soul Beast Forest felt the aura of Kang Xiang, which was as powerful as hell, and they were all terrified. Countless soul beasts crawled on the ground, not daring to move. Even soul beasts of 100,000 years or 200,000 years dared not move. Kang Xiang came to the Hell Abyss. When he came to the Hell Abyss, he couldn't help but be nervous. However, when he saw the scene of the Hell Abyss being destroyed beyond recognition, he couldn't help but be stunned. He dodged and came to the bottom of the abyss of hell. He saw that the bottom of the abyss of hell was blasted into pieces, with terrifying deep pits everywhere, and countless cliffs and rocks falling from the ground. He was shocked. When he came to a certain place, he touched the ground, and found it was full of blood. It was all the blood of the Lord of the Abyss. The Lord of the Abyss was injured, and seriously injured. Who was it? Who injured the Lord of the Abyss? He kept flying forward, and the more he checked, the more shocked he was. When he flew a circle, and returned to the original place again, his eyes were full of doubts, and his heart was shocked, puzzled, and puzzled. The Lord of the Abyss was seriously injured. Did he escape or die? However, he could not sense any breath of the one who fought with the Lord of the Abyss. Kang Xiang searched again, but still could not find any breath of the other person. Finally, he could only come out of the Hell Abyss, and then find a few 100,000-year soul beasts, and wanted to ask something from them, but those 100,000-year soul beasts were all terrified, shaking their heads, and saying they didn't know. Kang Xiang had no choice, but to leave, and return to Kangshen Mansion. Senior, how is it? Zheng Yangjiang came up and asked hurriedly. Kang Xiang shook his head. The Lord of the Abyss is seriously injured, and his life or death is unknown. What? Zheng Yangjiang's face changed drastically. And the Lord of the Abyss is very likely dead. Kang Xiang's face was solemn. Zheng Yangjiang was even more shocked. The Lord of the Abyss was killed. This is a super big event in Kangshen continent. Then according to your opinion, who did it? After a long time, Zheng Yangjiang asked hesitantly. Kang Xiang frowned. I can't think of it. Zheng Yangjiang's mouth was dry. Why did the other party kill the Lord of the Abyss? Suddenly, a possibility flashed in his mind, and his face changed. Could it be that he wants to condense a million-year soul ring? Kang Xiang denied it. It is not easy to condense a million-year soul ring. No one's martial soul can withstand the energy of million-year soul beast, not to mention that the Lord of the Abyss is nearly 2 million years old. Just as Zheng Yangjiang and Kang Xiang were talking about the Lord of the Abyss, Yang Xiaoshan drove the Abyss spaceship to the place of salvation in Foylan. The Abyss spaceship flew extremely fast and stable. There was no sense of bumps in the ship. Yang Xiaoshan was more satisfied with the Abyss spaceship. However, the only drawback was that the spaceship of the true god level needed a spirit stone of the best quality to drive it, and the number of spirit stones consumed for each day of flight was an astonishing number. In one day, more than 100 spirit stones of the best quality were needed. You should know that when Yang Xiaoshan went to the capital of the Dragon Empire and bought the Qinglang Mansion, he only spent more than a dozen spirit stones of the best quality. One day of flying is equivalent to spending 10 Qinglang mansions. Of course, for Yang Xiaoshan's current worth, this amount of high-grade spiritual stones is nothing. The high-grade spiritual stones in the space rings of the Lord of the Abyss and the dozen gods alone, he can't use them all up, even if he flies for 1,000 years. After entering the land of redemption, Yang Xiaoshan put away the spaceship and flew in the sky with the devil ancestor of destruction. After entering the land of redemption, there were only poor mountains and bad waters everywhere, and the space exuded a foul smell, and there was no sign of life at all. This was a bit like the evil land that Yang Xiaoshan entered before. It's just that the environment is worse than the evil land, and there are fights and blood everywhere. Broken limbs can be seen everywhere. The Land of Redemption is worse than Yang Ocean imagined. Just as Yang Ocean and the Devil Ancestor of Destruction were flying forward, suddenly, a faint cry for help came from the front. Yang Ocean and the others sped up. When they arrived, they saw hundreds of bodies lying on the ground. The blood had not yet dried. They had obviously just been killed. The faint cry for help came from a little girl, who was about the same age as Yang Ocean's sister. Yang Ocean came to the little girl, but found that the little girl's heart had been pierced. Just when he was about to rescue her, the little girl had already died. Yang Ocean sighed deeply and put the little girl's body down. Just as Yang Ocean was about to check on the others, suddenly, a sound of breaking through the air came from a distance, and a large group of young men and women dressed in the uniforms of foreign college students flew through the air. There were a lot of people, more than 100. Foreign college organizes students to come to the Land of Redemption for training every year, and these students are the ones who come here for training. After these people arrived, they saw the hundreds of people who died tragically at the scene, and their faces changed. Everyone stepped forward to check the situation. One of the students suddenly said to Yang Ocean angrily, "Boy, how did these people die?" From the tone of his voice, it seemed that he suspected that these people were killed by Yang Ocean and the Devil Ancestor of Destruction. Yang Ocean glanced at the other person indifferently and did not answer. Wearing a ghost mask and full of demonic energy, he is not a good guy at first glance. Another student pointed at the Devil Ancestor Mishan. These people may have been killed by them. Yang Ocean glanced at the two coldly. "You can eat whatever you want, but you can't say whatever you want. I also said that these people may have been killed by people from your foreign college." As soon as Yang Ocean said this, the faces of the teachers and students present at foreign college changed, and they were all furious. "How dare you blaspheme my foreign college?" The student who spoke first couldn't help but get angry, and swung the long sword in his hand, and stabbed Yang Ocean. With one sword, the Buddha's light was shining. In the distance, there was a Buddha's shadow flashing. This is the signature sword method of foreign college, the Buddha sword. The Buddha sword is one of the top supreme magical powers of foreign college, and only the core disciples who are trained with emphasis have the opportunity to learn it. However, Yang Ocean didn't even look at it, and punched it directly. When he punched it, a blood dragon roared and flew out. Boom. The blood dragon directly blasted away the opponent's sword energy, and the Buddha's shadow burst like a bubble. The student from foreign college was blasted away like a fallen leaf. When he landed, a deep dragon head blood pattern was seen on his chest. The teachers and students of foreign college were shocked. Dragon blood fist. One of the teachers of foreign college glared at Yang Ocean. "Tell me, who are you to Dragon Blood Demon Lord?" Yang Ocean glanced at him and said, "I'm your grandfather's grandfather." Chapter 317. Thousand Demon Mountain Summit. Grandfather's grandfather? Isn't that the ancestor? The teachers and students of foreign college looked strange. The teacher of foreign college was furious and murderous. "You are so young, but you are so vicious. I can't let you go." After saying that, he suddenly punched Yang Ocean. Suddenly, the holy power roared like the sea. Foreign college is one of the two major colleges of foreign empire. Those who can serve as teachers of foreign college are at least in the holy realm. With his punch, the power of the Holy Buddha swept the world, and the surrounding world was bright. However, the Devil Ancestor of Destruction was faster. As soon as the opponent made a move, the Devil Ancestor of Destruction slapped him directly. Snap. Slapped on the opponent's face. The opponent turned on the spot. His mind was booming, and his teeth were broken. While the teacher of foreign college was turning, the Devil Ancestor of Destruction slapped the opponent again, and the opponent flew up and smashed hard on the distant mountain. The mountain collapsed. Everything happened too fast, and the faces of the teachers and students of foreign college changed drastically. They looked at the Devil Ancestor Mishan, and couldn't help but look terrified. Yang Ocean glanced at the student who was just blown away by his blood dragon fist, and the other party retreated in fear. "Are there any more people who want to take action?" Yang Ocean asked. None of the teachers and students of foreign college dared to speak again. Yang Ocean glanced at the teachers and students of foreign college. Foreign college? Then he shook his head and smiled, and flew away with the Devil Ancestor Mishan. Hearing Yang Xiaoshen's extremely contemptuous laughter, the teachers and students of Foyuan College all looked ugly. Teacher Lin, that kid is too arrogant. He dared to attack and seriously injure our teachers and core students of Foyuan College. One of the students couldn't help but say angrily. One of the teachers took a deep breath, suppressed the anger in his heart, and said, "The Buddha young god will arrive in a while. When the Buddha young god arrives, we will chase him and make them pay the price." Buddha young god, the best master under the Buddha gods. He is also the best master under the Buddha gods. Before Tang Huan, the son of Tathagata Buddha, Buddha young god was the most gifted student in Foyuan College, and he had already reached the level of a demigod. Everyone believed that once Buddha young god broke through the realm of the gods, he would be extremely powerful. This time, Buddha young god from Foyuan College would also come, but the teachers and students of Foyuan College went first, and Buddha young god would arrive later. Hearing the name of Buddha young god, all the teachers and students of Foyuan College were excited, with fanatical worship on their faces. In Foyuan College, Buddha young god is a pillar of heaven. Buddha young god's prestige is even greater than Tang Huan's. After Yang Xiaoshen and Mishian Mozu left, they flew straight to Mo Mountain. The closer they got to Mo Mountain, the more chaotic it became. On the way, Yang Xiaoshen and the others were constantly attacked. Mishian Mozu killed all the attackers with one sword. After resolving dozens of waves of trouble, they finally saw Mo Mountain. Mo Mountain stands on the ground deep in the land of redemption, stretching endlessly, shrouded in demonic energy and grey, which makes people feel uneasy. Occasionally, a few black birds flew over from high in the sky. This is a kind of death-related vicious bat that feeds on the flesh and blood of the dead. A few black birds flew far away and entered an ancient and dilapidated city. That is the City of Redemption, the only city in the Land of Redemption. It is also the place where all parties in the Land of Redemption trade, and is protected by the demons of the Land of Redemption. Therefore, the City of Redemption is a relatively safe place in the Land of Redemption. However, it is only relatively safe. Yang Xiaoshen and the Devil Ancestor of Destruction walked into the City of Redemption. Yang Xiaoshen had never seen such a dilapidated city. He saw that almost no building in the city was intact. Moreover, the ground was not paved with complete granite. There were small pieces of broken iron all the way, and it was bumpy. The whole city seemed a little quiet. There were few pedestrians, very deserted, like a ghost town. Beside the street, there were several strange-looking beasts lying. Yang Xiaoshen was wearing a light blue brocade robe, spotless, as clear as the blue sky, which was out of tune with the dilapidated surroundings. When Yang Xiaoshen walked on the street, almost all the people passing by stared at Yang Xiaoshen with a strange and greedy look. Although everyone had ulterior motives towards Yang Xiaoshen, no one dared to take the initiative. After all, the City of Redemption was protected by demons, and everyone was still cautious. And everyone could see that Yang Xiaoshen and the Devil Ancestor Mishian were not easy to mess with, since they could get here. Not long after Yang Xiaoshen and the other person entered the City of Redemption, when they passed a tavern, a large group of people stopped them. The other party was all wearing blood red robes, and there was a conspicuous blood word on the robes. The blood words were bloody, as if they were cast in blood. Before entering the Land of Redemption, the Devil Ancestor Mishian told Yang Xiaoshen about the situation of the various forces in the Land of Redemption. Here, there are 5 major demon sects, and those wearing blood red robes in front of them are members of the Dragon Blood sect, one of the 5 major demon sects. The old man in the lead stared at Yang Xiaoshen with his eyes flashing with a cold light, and laughed. "Little ghost, where are you from? What are you doing in the Land of Redemption?" From the Sky Burial Academy. Yang Xiaoshen's face was normal. "I want to enter the first peak of the 1000 Demon Mountain." Hearing that Yang Xiaoshen came from the Sky Burial Academy, the old man laughed and showed his shiny black teeth. "Sky Burial Academy, what a great place. So you are very rich." The Sky Burial Academy is the most expensive academy in the Foyuan Empire. When it comes to students of the Sky Burial Academy, the first impression people get is that they are rich. Yang Xiaoshen shook his head and said, "I advise you not to do it." The old man laughed loudly, and his laughter was very arrogant. His skinny little hand suddenly grabbed Yang Xiaoshen, and the black nails of his 10 fingers turned into sharp blades. Obviously, his hands were soaked in venom for many years, and his nails were extremely toxic, which would kill anyone who touched them. However, as soon as he made a move, a dazzling sword light flashed and disappeared. The old man froze there, looking at the sharp sword piercing his throat in disbelief. The demon ancestor of destruction drew out his sword coldly, and the old man fell to the ground and died. The faces of the dragon blood cult followers changed drastically, and then they scattered like birds and beasts, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. The followers of the other 4 major demon cults also gave up their evil thoughts. Yang Xiaoshan and the demon ancestor of destruction continued to move forward. Not far from the city of redemption, they came to the Thousand Demon Mountain. The Thousand Demon Mountain is where all the demons gather. The headquarters of the 5 major demon cults in the land of redemption are all here. However, after what happened to the old man of the dragon blood cult just now, no one stopped or attacked Yang Xiaoshan and the others. After passing through many mountains, Yang Xiaoshan and the others finally came to the first peak of the Thousand Demon Mountain. The Thousand Demon Mountain is where all the demons gather, but the first peak of the Thousand Demon Mountain is uninhabited. Because the first peak of the Thousand Demon Mountain is full of terrifying restrictions, even gods dare not step into it. There was once a god who stepped into the first peak of the Thousand Demon Mountain and never came out. No one knows whether he is alive or dead. Yang Xiaoshan asked the heaven-destroying demon ancestor to wait outside, and then, under the protection of the medicine cauldron, he stepped onto the top of the Thousand Demon Mountain. At this time, the Buddha young god also led everyone from the Buddha Origin Academy to the City of Redemption. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 318, Subduing the Thousand Buddhas' Divine Fire. After some inquiries, Fo Shaoshan and others soon learned that Yang Xiaoshan and Mishian Emozu had entered the first peak of Kainemo Mountain. Entered the first peak of Kainemo Mountain? Fo Shaoshan was in doubt. What are they doing in the first peak of Kainemo Mountain? The first peak of Kainemo Mountain is heavily restricted, and even gods will die if they enter. My lord, then should we chase them now? The teacher of the academy asked carefully. Fo Shaoshan shook his head. Since they have entered the first peak of Kainemo Mountain, there is no need for us to chase them. Then he glanced at the students of Foyuan Academy. Everyone, complete the task first. This time, the students of Foyuan Academy have a task. Naturally, the students of Foyuan Academy did not dare to object, and all of them responded respectfully. After Yang Xiaoshan entered the first peak of Kainemo Mountain, he carefully sensed the power of the Thousand Buddhas' Divine Fire. He now has the Thunder Tribulation Divine Fire, and within a certain range, he is extremely sensitive to the power of other divine fires. With the protection of the medicine cauldron, Yang Xiaoshan was not worried about the restricted attack. He rushed around and approached the top of the mountain. Suddenly, the Thunder Tribulation Divine Fire in his body became active. Yang Xiaoshan was overjoyed. It seemed that the Thousand Buddhas' Divine Fire was really here. He could not help but quicken his pace and walk towards the top of the mountain. However, as soon as he arrived at the top of the mountain, Yang Xiaoshan was shocked to see the sky full of sword energy in front of him. Here, there was actually an innate sword formation just like the one in the Sky Burial Mountain. Moreover, this innate sword formation seemed to be exactly the same as the innate sword formation in the Sky Burial Mountain, but the power was a little weaker. However, even if it was weaker, it was enough to kill the gods. Yang Xiaoshan was surprised and wondered, who arranged this innate sword formation? Was it the Thousand Buddhas medicine god? If it was the Thousand Buddhas medicine god, what was his relationship with the Lord of the Kang god back then? How could he be the innate sword formation of the Lord of the Kang god back then? In the midst of doubt, Yang Xiaoshan was overjoyed. The innate sword formation was a bad thing for others, but for him, it was 100 benefits without any harm. If there was an innate sword formation, there was a high probability of an innate sword spirit. Now, although he has condensed 9 sword hearts, he is still far from the 14th sword heart. If he practices normally, it is unknown when he can condense the 14th sword heart. He urgently needs the innate sword spirit. Immediately, Yang Xiaoshan stepped into the innate sword formation in front of him. As soon as Yang Xiaoshan entered the innate sword formation, the sword energy like a tide bombarded him. Looking at the millions of sword energy bombarding him furiously, Yang Xiaoshan was very familiar with this scene. He ignored it and continued to move forward to find the innate sword spirit. As he kept moving forward, Yang Xiaoshan finally found the first innate sword spirit. Then, Yang Xiaoshan trapped the innate sword spirit with the sword control technique and began to refine this innate sword spirit. After condensing 9 sword hearts, he refined the innate sword spirit much faster. After one day, he had completely refined this innate sword spirit. Then, he continued to look for the next innate sword spirit. Time passed. Day after day passed. 5 days later, Yang Xiaoshan finally refined all 4 innate sword spirits in the innate sword formation, and then he passed through the innate sword formation and came to the 1000 Buddha Medicine God Cave Mansion. The door of the 1000 Buddha Medicine God Cave Mansion was locked, and the lock was made of black ice. Seeing this, Yang Xiaoshan directly summoned the Thunder Tribulation Divine Fire and used the Thunder Tribulation Divine Fire to burn the black ice lock. Soon, the black ice lock melted. Yang Xiaoshan took a deep breath and pushed the door of the cave mansion open. As soon as he pushed it open, he was almost choked by a strong smell of elixir. He looked and saw that the hall was full of messy medicine bottles on the ground. There were also many discarded elixir residues in the corner. The strong smell of elixir just now came from those elixir residues. Yang Xiaoshan went forward to check the pile of elixir residues and was quite surprised because the pile of elixir residues were all the residues from the failed refining of god level elixir. Even the waste residues of ordinary saint level elixir can be of great use, not to mention the waste residues of god level elixir. To refine the divine elixir, all the medicinal materials used are divine objects. Even the waste residue contains many powerful medicinal properties of divine objects. Although it cannot be swallowed directly, it has a magical effect if used as fertilizer to cultivate the divine tree. Yang Xiaoshan collected all the waste residue of the elixir. If the divine tree is found in the future, these waste residues of the elixir will be of great use. After collecting the piles of waste residue of the elixir, Yang Xiaoshan began to search in the hall to see if he could find the divine elixir. The divine elixir is not comparable to the top holy elixir. Even if there are more top holy elixirs, they cannot compare to a divine elixir. In the Dragon Empire, there have been no divine elixirs for hundreds of years. But to Yang Xiaoshan's disappointment, he searched all corners of the hall and did not see any trace of the divine elixir. Yang Xiaoshan could only come to the gate of the second palace. When he came to the gate of the second palace, the Thunder Tribulation Divine Fire in his body was even more agitated. Obviously, the 1000 Buddha Divine Fire was in the second palace. The gate of the second palace was also tightly closed, but there was no black ice lock. On the gate, there were all kinds of profound runes. The light of these runes flowed, forming an invisible force. When Yang Xiaoshan touched the gate, he was repelled by this invisible force. When Yang Xiaoshan tried to circulate his true essence to blast open the gate, he was shocked and retreated again and again, and almost flew out. Finally, Yang Xiaoshan had no choice but to ask for help from Yaoding, a mouthful of 9-layer heaven tribulation thunder water. Yaoding said. Seeing that Ding Yi was taking advantage of the situation again, Yang Xiaoshan was speechless. However, compared to the 1000 Buddha Divine Fire, one of the 10 great divine fires, a mouthful of 9-layer heaven tribulation thunder water was still worth it. Yang Xiaoshan gave Yaoding a mouthful of 9-layer heaven tribulation thunder water. The golden light of Yaoding burst out, and with heavy golden light, it blasted towards the gate. Suddenly, the gate was blasted open. In the second palace, a ball of golden divine fire was suspended, and around the divine fire, there were thousands of golden Buddha shadows, and the thousands of golden Buddha shadows were constantly circulating around the divine fire. A divine fire force that was much more terrifying than the divine fire of thunder tribulation came overwhelmingly towards Yang Xiaoshan. Boom. It was like the world was turned upside down. Even though Yang Xiaoshan had the power of the medicine cauldron to protect him, he was almost blown away. Yang Xiaoshan was shocked and quickly used the fire control technique to try to trap the thousand Buddha's divine fire, but the impact force of the thousand Buddha's divine fire was far beyond his imagination, and Yang Xiaoshan could not trap it at all. In the end, it was a medicine cauldron that emitted a ray of light, which enveloped the thousand Buddha's divine fire and suppressed it. Even so, the thousand Buddha's divine fire continued to crash, shaking the earth and mountains. The entire ground of the first peak of the thousand demon mountain was shaking violently. Even the devil ancestor Mishan, who was guarding outside, was terrified. Seeing this, Yang Xiaoshan continued to use the fire control technique, casting a series of fire runes that merged into the thousand Buddha's divine fire. Back then, he subdued the divine fire of thunder tribulation. The fire rune of the fire control technique was integrated into the divine fire of thunder tribulation for several hours, and the divine fire of thunder tribulation became quiet. However, the thousand Buddha's divine fire was far more difficult to tame than Yang Xiaoshan had imagined. After a day, it was still violently bombarding. Chapter 319, The Birth of a Heavenly Grade Elixir. Yang Xiaoshan kept injecting fire runes into the thousand Buddha's divine fire. 3 days later, the thousand Buddha's divine fire finally settled down. When the thousand Buddha's divine fire settled down, Yang Xiaoshan was almost exhausted. Fortunately, he practiced the dragon technique, and his true essence was extremely strong. Otherwise, even with the help of the medicine cauldron, he could not subdue the thousand Buddha's divine fire. The thousand Buddha's divine fire is the 10th ranked divine fire, and it is so difficult to subdue it. If it were the other top 10 divine fires, the difficulty of subduing them could be imagined. If he subdued the first 5 divine fires, he would have to break through to the Great Emperor realm. For the first 3, he might have to break through to the Saint realm. As for the first one, he might have to reach the Divine Spirit realm. The road ahead is long and the road is long. Yang Xiaoshan sighed and continued to use the fire control technique, continuously injecting fire runes into the thousand Buddha's divine fire. After several more hours, he and the thousand Buddha's divine fire were finally connected by heart and blood. At this time, he could be considered to have truly subdued the thousand Buddha's divine fire. Yang Xiaoshan stretched out his hand and saw the thousand Buddha's divine fire shrinking and falling into his right hand. Yang Xiaoshan stretched out his left hand, and the thunder tribulation divine fire appeared. The thunder tribulation divine fire in his left hand, and the thousand Buddha's divine fire in his right hand, with lightning on one side and Buddha light on the other. The two great divine fires complemented each other, and Yang Xiaoshan was like the 9 heavens thunder god who walked out of the Buddha kingdom. Looking at the two great divine fires, Yang Xiaoshan thought of the azure dragon on the left and the white tiger on the right. If all the divine fires were gathered and all the divine fires were around him, what a shocking scene it would be. If all the divine fires were summoned, I'm afraid the enemy would be paralyzed in fear. Yang Xiaoshan stretched out his hand, and the two great divine fires flew up. The thunder tribulation divine fire floated above Yang Xiaoshan, with thunder rolling, and thunder and fire like the sea, while the thousand Buddha's divine fire floated behind Yang Xiaoshan, like 1,000 golden flame ancient Buddhas floating behind Yang Xiaoshan, blooming with layers of Buddha flames. Yang Xiaoshan took out the Jade Dragon Heavenly Cauldron. Now that he had the two great divine fires, he couldn't wait to see if he could refine a heavenly elixir. However, he was not in a hurry to refine the Sinuan Zijin pill. The Sinuan Zijin pill was a 5th level pill, and it was more difficult to refine. He started with the foundation building spirit liquid. Yang Xiaoshan took out the 14 kinds of medicinal materials needed to refine the foundation building spirit liquid. These medicinal materials were all ordinary medicinal materials. After taking out the 14 kinds of medicinal materials, Yang Xiaoshan waved his hand, and suddenly, all the 14 kinds of medicinal materials were suspended in the air. Then, the two great divine fires flew up at the same time, and came to the sky above the 14 kinds of medicinal materials. Under the control of Yang Xiaoshan's mind, the thunder tribulation divine fire first rained down a sky full of fire. Then, the 1,000 Buddhas of the 1,000 Buddhas divine fire bloomed with layers of Buddha light fire, like waves of the sea, and passed through the 14 kinds of medicinal materials at the same time. Because the flames of the two great divine fires were terrifying, Yang Xiaoshan was extremely cautious when controlling the two great divine fires. However, even with caution, when the flame power of the Thunder Tribulation Divine Fire and the 1000 Buddhas Divine Fire spread over, the 14 kinds of medicinal materials almost melted successfully at the same time. Then, Yang Zai Ocean controlled the melted 14 medicinal materials to fuse one by one. When all the medicinal materials were fused, Yang Zai Ocean controlled the flames of the Thunder Tribulation Divine Fire and the 1000 Buddha Divine Fire to continuously fuse and condense into a huge fire cauldron. In this fire cauldron, thunder and lightning were radiant, and thousands of Buddhas were entangled, with Buddha light all over the sky. The melted liquid after the 14 medicinal materials were fused dripped into this fire cauldron. Suddenly, the thunder and Buddha fire wrapped the melted liquid of the 14 medicinal materials. Almost instantly, the light rose. The fragrance of the elixir filled the entire cave. Yang Zai Ocean had been refining the foundation building spiritual liquid for so long, and he had never smelled such a good medicinal fragrance. It was simply intoxicating. Just as the light became more and more brilliant, the light became brighter, and the fragrance of the elixir became more and more charming. Suddenly, thunder and lightning flashed above the 9 heavens, and the heavenly tribulation thunder appeared. Yang Zai Ocean was startled. Then he remembered that when the heavenly elixir was completed, there would be a heavenly tribulation. Boom. At the moment, when Yang Zai Ocean was shocked, the thunder of the heavenly tribulation came down violently. Yang Zai Ocean did not expect the thunder of the heavenly tribulation to come so quickly and cleanly. Outside the first peak of the 1000 Demon Mountain, the demon ancestor Mishan looked at the thunder of the heavenly tribulation coming down violently from the sky and could not help but be filled with shock. Generally speaking, only when the peak of the saint realm breaks through the realm of the gods will the heavenly tribulation appear. Could it be that someone in the first peak of the 1000 Demon Mountain has broken through the realm of the gods? No. He then discovered that this heavenly tribulation thunder was different from the legendary heavenly tribulation thunder of the gods. The thunder of the legendary heavenly tribulation of the gods could not be so hasty. Since it was not the heavenly tribulation of the gods, could it be? The demon ancestor Mishan was shocked and extremely excited. The demons on the surrounding peaks of the 1000 Demon Mountain also saw this amazing heavenly tribulation, and were all shocked. At this time, the thunder of the heavenly tribulation had already hit the sky above the fire cauldron. The power of the thunder was terrifying, far beyond what Yang Zai Ocean could resist now. If the power of the thunderbolt cannot be resisted, the fire cauldron will be blown apart in an instant, and the medicinal liquid inside will be blown to ashes. Just as the thunderbolt was about to explode the fire cauldron, suddenly, 2 giant claws stretched out across the sky and slapped at the same time, exploding the thunderbolt. The ones who did it were the Azure Thunder Python and the Ice Flame Kirin. Although the power of the thunderbolt was very strong, with the current power of the 2 in the divine realm, they could easily explode it. Whether it was the Azure Thunder Python or the Ice Flame Kirin, everyone could easily block the thunderbolt. After the thunderbolt was exploded, the medicinal liquid inside the fire cauldron shone brightly, and the green light spread out like ripples in circles. The fragrance of the elixir was like wind and waves, blowing into every corner of the cave. Yang Zai Ocean smelled it, his mouth was full of saliva, and the pores all over his body opened up. The Azure Thunder Python and the Ice Flame Kirin were also looking at the foundation building spiritual liquid in front of them with great excitement. Heavenly grade. It's the heavenly grade foundation building spiritual liquid. Young Master succeeded. After the power of the heavenly tribulation was resisted, the heavenly grade foundation building spiritual liquid was finally generated. The heavenly grade foundation building spiritual liquid is completely different from the supreme grade foundation building spiritual liquid. The entire color is actually golden. The gold is pure and flawless, without a trace of impurities, which is pleasing to the eye, just like the golden liquid born from heaven and earth. It is no wonder that the Azure Thunder Python and the Ice Flame Kirin were so excited. Since the medicine god Sultan, the Dragon Empire has not seen the heavenly grade elixir for many years. And now, the heavenly grade elixir has finally been born. Although it is only the heavenly grade foundation building spiritual liquid, the heavenly grade foundation building spiritual liquid is also the heavenly grade elixir. Yang Zai Ocean looked at the heavenly grade foundation building spiritual liquid in front of him and breathed a sigh of relief, revealing a happy smile. Sure enough, After controlling the two divine fires, he was finally able to refine the heavenly grade elixir. However, thanks to the presence of the Azure Thunder Python and the Ice Flame Kirin, he alone would not be able to withstand the power of the heavenly tribulation, which was equivalent to the full force of a Saint Realm peak powerhouse. Yang Ocean put away the heavenly grade foundation building spiritual liquid, and then began to refine the second level elixir, the 4-symbol spiritual pill. The 4-symbol spiritual pill was more difficult and complicated than the foundation building spiritual liquid. Even so, with Yang Ocean's full concentration, half an hour later, the second heavenly grade elixir was born. When the heavenly grade 4-symbol spiritual pill was formed, the fragrance of the pill overflowed the cave, and even the innate sword formation outside could not isolate this charming fragrance. The golden light of the pill illuminated the entire cave with vitality. Chapter 320 Tang Huan wins first place. Outside the mountain, the devil ancestor of destruction was already stunned by the thunder of the heavenly tribulation that struck again. As the level of the refined elixir increases, the power of the heavenly tribulation that is triggered becomes stronger. The power of the second heavenly tribulation thunder is obviously much stronger than the first one. In the cave, Yang Ocean looked at the golden Cheyenne Pin 4 elephant spirit pill and swallowed his saliva. He had never wanted to swallow an elixir so much. It was like facing a heavenly delicacy, and he always wanted to take a bite. Such an elixir is not only appetizing. The Cheyenne Pin 4 elephant spirit pill in his hand was so golden and transparent that it looked like an elf. In the end, Yang Ocean still held back and put away the Cheyenne Pin 4 elephant spirit pill. Considering that the heavenly tribulation triggered by the Cheyenne Pin elixir was too shocking, Yang Ocean did not continue to refine the elixir, but continued to search the cave to see if there was a god level elixir. After searching the cave, he did not find the god level elixir, but found a lot of elixir refining secrets and scrolls, all of which were left by the 1000 Buddha's medicine god. Looking at these medicine refining secrets and scrolls, Yang Ocean was quite helpless. What he lacked the least now was medicine refining secrets and scrolls. He had so many medicine refining secrets and scrolls that he couldn't finish reading them. However, one of the scrolls caught Yang Ocean's attention. In this scroll, the 1000 Buddha medicine god recounted his own experience of refining god level elixirs and the whereabouts of the 1000 Buddha sword. Yang Ocean read the scroll carefully from beginning to end. It turned out that the 1000 Buddha medicine god had refined a furnace of god level elixirs in the pharmacist's hall of the Buddha origin empire, a total of 2. One has been used, and the other is placed in the 1000 Buddha hall of the pharmacist's hall. As for the 1000 Buddha sword, we will know its whereabouts when we get the god level elixir. 1000 Buddha hall. Yang Ocean read. After putting everything away, Yang Ocean came out of the cave, passed through the Xianshan sword formation, and walked down the first peak of the 1000 Demon Mountain. When the demon ancestor Mishan, who was guarding outside the mountain, saw Yang Ocean coming out, he was very excited and came forward to greet him. Young master. Yang Ocean was in a good mood and gave the demon ancestor Mishan a holy level elixir, which was the top one. If it weren't for the demon ancestor Mishan, he wouldn't have found the 1000 Buddha's divine fire so easily. The demon ancestor Mishan took the holy level elixir and was very excited. He thanked Yang Ocean. When Yang Ocean and the demon ancestor Mishan left the 1000 Demons Mountain and returned to the City of Redemption, the Buddha young god and the teachers and students of the Foyuan Academy had already left, so they didn't meet the Buddha young god and others. After leaving the Land of Redemption, Yang Ocean took the Abyss spaceship and flew to the Fogwing city of Foyuan. The main hall of the pharmacists of the Foyuan Empire is in the Fogwing city. Standing at the bow of the spaceship, Yang Ocean took out the Cheyenne Pin 4 elephant spirit pill. If you look closely, you can see that there is a thunder pattern wrapped around the surface of the pill. This is the symbol of a 1 tribulation Cheyenne Pin elixir. Cheyenne Pin elixirs also have high and low grades. Just like the heavenly tribulation, there are the first, second, and third heavenly tribulations. The elixir that has gone through the first heavenly tribulation is a first tribulation heavenly grade elixir. Just now, the foundation building spirit liquid and the 4-symbol spirit elixir that Yang Ocean refined were both made after going through the first heavenly tribulation, and they are all first tribulation heavenly grade elixirs. Above the first tribulation, there are the second and third tribulations. The highest is the ninth tribulation. A first tribulation heavenly grade elixir is already unattainable, let alone the second and third tribulations. Just like the medicine god Sultan of the Dragon Empire in the past, he could only refine a first tribulation heavenly grade elixir. Although Yang Xiaoshan now controls the two great divine fires, he can only refine a first tribulation heavenly grade elixir. It is impossible to refine a second tribulation heavenly grade elixir. Unless he can control the three great divine fires and use them to refine elixirs at the same time, there is hope to refine a second tribulation heavenly grade elixir. On the way, Yang Xiaoshan was not idle either, and continued to control the two great divine fires, to refine elixirs during the day. Now that he could refine the heavenly grade 4 symbols elixir, he began to refine the third grade elixir, the 9 Yang longevity elixir. The 9 Yang longevity elixir was much more difficult to refine than the 4 symbols elixir. The first time, Yang Xiaoshan did not succeed. After several failures, he finally attracted the heavenly tribulation again. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan began to refine the 4th grade elixir, the taking UI elixir. A day later, he also successfully refined the heavenly grade taking UI elixir. Finally, Yang Xiaoshan began to refine the 5th grade elixir, the 3 Yuan purple gold elixir. The 3 Yuan purple gold elixir was the highest grade elixir he could refine at present, and it was also the elixir he needed most for his cultivation in the martial emperor realm. Therefore, whether he could refine the heavenly grade 3 Yuan purple gold elixir was even more important to him. After dozens of failures, the 3 Yuan purple gold elixir finally attracted the heavenly tribulation. Looking at the heavenly tribulation thunder brewing in the sky, Yang Xiaoshan felt relieved and smiled. The heavenly grade 3 Yuan purple gold elixir was finally refined, which was worth his hard work in finding the 1000 Buddha's divine fire. However, the heaven grade 3 Yuan purple gold pill was refined, but thinking of the sword heart, Yang Xiaoshan had a headache. The further he went, the more the sword heart could be condensed. According to his current situation, to condense the 10th sword heart, he would need at least 10 innate sword spirits. Where could he find so many innate sword spirits? In fact, if you want to condense the 10th sword heart, you don't necessarily have to look for innate sword spirits. Yao Ding said. Yang Xiaoshan was startled. What does Uncle Ding mean? If you can practice the entire Tangshan sword technique completely, master all the 49 moves of the Tangshan sword technique, and comprehend the Tangshan sword Dao in it, you can condense the 10th sword heart. Yao Ding said. Yang Xiaoshan's mind moved. If I find the 1000 Buddha sword, practice it completely, and comprehend the 1000 Buddha sword Dao, will it help me to condense the 11th sword heart? Yao Ding said, yes. Then he said, however, you need to practice the advanced swordsmanship of the divine sword. If it is the heavenly sword or the supreme divine sword, the effect will be small. Yang Xiaoshan understood, and then he thought of the Thunder 9 Heaven swordsmanship of the ancient Thunder God Cave Mansion. The Thunder 9 Heavens of the ancient Thunder God is comparable to the divine sword, but you need to find the ancient Thunder God sword to truly comprehend the Thunder sword Dao. Yao Ding said. The ancient Thunder God sword? That ancient Thunder God sword should still be in the ancient Thunder God Cave Mansion. Just when Yang Xiaoshan and Mishian Emozu rushed to Efo Guang City, Efo Guang City was in full swing in the Foyuan pharmacist competition. Tang Huan signed up for the Foyuan pharmacist competition. Due to Tang Huan's registration, this Foyuan pharmacist competition was extremely lively. Many masters from many sects and families flocked to Fogwang City, and many talented pharmacists also signed up enthusiastically. In the competition, Tang Huan used his amazing medicine refining skills to pass 5 levels and kill 6 generals, which amazed the powerful people from all sides. When Yang Xiaoshan arrived at Fogwang City, it was already evening. In the evening, Fogwang City was illuminated by the afterglow of the setting sun, revealing tranquility and peace. After putting away the Abyss spaceship, Yang Xiaoshan and Mishian Emozu entered Fogwang City. As soon as he entered Fogwang City, he saw people talking about the pharmacist competition that had just ended everywhere in the streets and alleys. The Buddha's son is worthy of being the most talented alchemist of the younger generation of our Buddha Yuan. He actually controls the flame of space and the flame of the sea. A family disciple passing by was spitting excitedly and using the flame of space and the flame of the sea at the same time. To refine medicine is simply a miracle. Yes, the Buddha's son won the first place in this pharmacist competition, and he deserves it. Another family disciple also said excitedly, in my opinion, even if Yang Xiaoshan participates in this pharmacist competition, he will definitely lose to the Buddha's son. Chapter 321, Assessment of Pharmacists. Yes, although Yang Xiaoshan controls the flame of the earth and the 9 phoenix golden flame, the Buddha's son controls the flame of space and the flame of the sea. The combined power of the flame of space and the flame of the sea is definitely stronger than the flame of the earth and the 9 phoenix golden flame. And the Buddha's son can control 2 kinds of strange fires to refine medicine at the same time. Such a method is simply eye-opening and unprecedented. Yang Xiaoshan may not be able to control 2 kinds of strange fires to refine medicine at the same time. Many family disciples passing by discussed. Yang Xiaoshan's face was normal when he heard that the Buddha's son Tang Huan won the first place in this foreign pharmacist competition. Don't forget that Tang Huan lost to Yang Shen in Donghuang City a few days ago. At this time, a family disciple shouted, if Yang Shen participated in this medicine refining competition, he would definitely win the first place. Another family disciple echoed, it seems that Yang Xiaoshan still has a lot of fans. Suddenly, the 2 sides had a verbal battle. Yang Xiaoshan shook his head and walked towards the pharmacist hall. However, the 1000 Buddha Hall is an important place of the foreign pharmacist hall. Not everyone can enter. Only pharmacists above 4 stars can enter the 1000 Buddha Hall to comprehend the way of medicine. Therefore, before that, he had to pass the 4-star pharmacist assessment of the foreign pharmacist headquarters. Just as Yang Xiaoshan was coming to the foreign pharmacist hall, a group of foreign pharmacists held a banquet in a courtyard of the pharmacist hall to celebrate Tang Huan's winning the first place in this pharmacist competition. Tang Huan and everyone were drinking and laughing. When everyone was drinking to their heart's content, a subordinate came to Tang Huan and whispered something in his ear. After hearing this, Tang Huan frowned and put down the wine glass. A young man in a green robe on the left saw this and said, Brother Tang, what's the matter? This young man in a green robe was the student of Foyuan College who was blown away by Yang Xiaoshan's dragon blood fist in the Land of Redemption. He came from the Chen family in Zhongzhou and was the second young master of the Chen family. His name was Chen Yuan. The Chen family was also one of the super families in the Foyuan Empire. The students of Foyuan College who entered the Land of Redemption returned to Fogwang City with Fo Shaoshan yesterday after completing their mission. Tang Huan said coldly, I won the first place in this pharmacist competition. Many people have objections. They say that if Yang Xiaoshan participated, Yang Xiaoshan would definitely win the first place. Chen Yuan sneered and said, Yang Xiaoshan? Who is he? If his medicine refining skills were really that high, he wouldn't be hiding and not daring to participate in the pharmacist competition. Another student of Foyuan College smiled and said, Brother Chen is right. He knows how much he is worth. That's why he doesn't dare to participate in the pharmacist competition. In my opinion, if he comes to participate, he may not even be able to enter the top 10. All the students of Foyuan College laughed. Tang Huan's face looked better. He said in a deep voice, I hope he comes. I want to compete with him in a fair competition. I want to let them know who has a higher medicine refining level between me and Yang Xiaoshan. After saying that, he took a big gulp of wine, his eyes fierce. At this time, Yang Xiaoshan and evil ancestor Mishan came to the main gate of the pharmacist hall in Fogwang City. Like the pharmacist hall of the Dragon Empire, there was no one guarding the main gate. Yang Xiaoshan and the others walked in. It was late at night, and there were not many people in the hall, only a few pharmacists. When they saw someone coming in, they looked over. One of them saw Yang Xiaoshan. His face changed, and then his eyes were murderous. Boy, it's you. The other party was the young Buddhist man that Yang Xiaoshan met in the Soul Beast Forest when he was hunting the Lord of the Abyss. Yang Xiaoshan didn't expect to meet him here. The young man was a core disciple of the Buddhist family, named Fo Shenji. He subconsciously glanced at devil ancestor Mishan beside Yang Xiaoshan. Last time, the 4 Saint Realm ancestors he led were blown away by the Ice Flame Kirin, and he still remembered it clearly. Who is the manager here? Yang Xiaoshan ignored Fo Shengji's murderous eyes and said, I want to participate in the pharmacist assessment. The other pharmacists were all accidents. You want to take the 1-star pharmacist exam. One of the 2-star pharmacists looked Yang Xiaoshan up and down. Yang Xiaoshan looked only 12 or 13 years old. At this age, many people were just apprentices. No wonder the other party thought Yang Xiaoshan was here to take the 1-star pharmacist exam. Upon hearing this, Yang Xiaoshan shook his head and said, I want to take the 2-star pharmacist exam. Then he took out his 1-star pharmacist ID card. The others were surprised to see that Yang Xiaoshan was a 1-star pharmacist. Fo Shengji also looked at Yang Xiaoshan in surprise, and then smiled and said, I'm the manager of the Foyuan Pharmacist Hall. Boy, I didn't expect you to be a 1-star pharmacist. You want to take the 2-star pharmacist exam, right? I will host the exam for you. Having said this, he asked his men to take out a rusty medicine cauldron from the inner hall. At the same time, he took out the medicinal materials for refining the dragon and tiger elixir. These medicinal materials were extremely poor quality, and many of them were even moldy. If you can refine a low-grade dragon tiger elixir within an hour using this medicine cauldron and these herbs, I will consider you a pass. Fo Shengji pointed at the medicine cauldron and herbs, and said with a smile, the time for the 2-star pharmacist assessment is 3 hours. But Fo Shengji deliberately shortened the time to 1 hour. Even many 2-star pharmacists who have been famous for many years in the Foyuan Pharmacist Hall cannot refine a low-grade dragon tiger elixir within an hour. Yang Xiaoshan glanced at him, and suddenly opened his right hand. Suddenly, the overwhelming fire of heaven and earth surged like a tsunami, and rushed towards the herbs on the ground. These herbs were rushed into the medicine cauldron one by one. And in an instant, all the herbs were melted into liquid medicine by the fire of heaven and earth. Under the fire of heaven and earth controlled by Yang Xiaoshan, the originally rusty medicine cauldron actually burst into a strong light, as if it was rejuvenated. The fire of heaven and earth was like a wave, lifting the medicine cauldron to the sky. In the blink of an eye, bursts of brilliant light and the fragrance of medicine filled the hall. A crystal clear pill flew out of the medicine cauldron, and the astonishing sound of dragon roars and tiger roars shook the main hall of the pharmacists. Fo Shengji and the others were completely stunned, looking at the crystal clear pill, as if they had seen a ghost. This is the best dragon and tiger elixir. A top grade dragon and tiger elixir was refined in just a few breaths. And it was made with the lowest grade medicine cauldron and the lowest quality medicinal materials. How is it possible? Fo Shengji couldn't believe it and stuttered. I passed? Yang Xiaoshan said calmly. Fo Shengji looked at Yang Xiaoshan, unable to hide his shock, and finally nodded. Just when he was about to have someone issue Yang Xiaoshan a 2-star pharmacist identity card, Yang Xiaoshan said, no, I still have to take the 3-star pharmacist assessment. The pharmacist assessment in the Kangshen continent must be assessed step by step, so Yang Xiaoshan can only take the 2-star and 3-star assessments, and then the 4-star pharmacist assessment. Fo Shengji and the others were stunned when they heard that Yang Xiaoshan was still going to take the 3-star pharmacist assessment. Chapter 322. Harmony between heaven and man. Several people looked at Fo Shengji. Although Fo Shengji was the manager, his authority was only to preside over the assessment of 2-star pharmacists, and he was not qualified to preside over the assessment of 3-star pharmacists. Soon, the senior deacon of the medicine hall heard the news and came. He came to the hall, and saw Yang Xiaoshan, and was very surprised. I wonder what your name is, young friend? Fo Shengji and others stared at Yang Xiaoshan. Heaven Burial Academy, Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Xiaoshan did not hide it. Heaven Burial Academy, Yang Xiaoshan. Fo Shengji and others looked at Yang Xiaoshan in horror, as if they were struck by lightning. Especially Fo Shengji. He stepped back in fear, and bumped into the stone pillar behind him. The whole hall was dead silent, and dripping water could be heard. A person's name is like a tree's shadow. Now no matter who hears the name of Yang Xiaoshan, the first thing they think of is the 2 divine golden elixirs. They think of the 9 invincible sword hearts. They think of fighting 3,000 emperors alone, and sweeping across the 13 continents with 2 palms. At this time, Tang Huan was drinking with Chen Yuan, and suddenly saw his men running in panic to report, Buddha, Yang Xiaoshan is here. Yang Xiaoshan. The scene suddenly became quiet. Tang Huan's eyes condensed, and he slowly said, "Where is Yang Xiaoshan?" "He is in the hall outside. He just participated in the 2-star pharmacist assessment." His men hurriedly said. It took a few breaths to refine the best dragon and tiger elixir. When Chen Yuan heard that Yang Xiaoshan, who fought against the 3000 emperors alone, actually participated in the low-level 2-star pharmacist assessment, he was about to mock him when he suddenly heard Tang Huan's men say that Yang Xiaoshan took a few breaths to refine the best dragon and tiger elixir. Suddenly, with a puff, the wine in his mouth sprayed everywhere. Other students of Foyuan College also puffed. At the scene, the wine sprayed like rain. Tang Huan's men were sprayed like drowned rats. A few breaths refined the best dragon and tiger elixir. Tang Huan clenched his hands, his eyes full of disbelief, and unknowingly crushed the wine glass in his hand into powder. Yes. Seeing Tang Huan's ferocious expression, his subordinates trembled and said, "He still has to take the 3-star pharmacist assessment." Tang Huan took a deep breath, stood up, his eyes were as cold as a knife, and suddenly broke through the air and flew to the front hall at a high speed. Chen Yuan and other Buddhist students all woke up, rushed out of the palace, and followed Tang Huan to the front hall. "It's just a top-grade dragon and tiger elixir. It's nothing great," Chen Yuan said from behind. "Even I can easily refine it." At this moment, suddenly, he stopped and saw that in the void, the fire of heaven and earth was extremely violent, like a tsunami, surging from the end of the sky. All rushed to the front hall. Seeing the fire of heaven and earth all over the sky and the ground, Chen Yuan and the students of Buddhist Academy were frightened. Even Tang Huan was shocked. When Yang Xiaoshan was in Donghuang City, he controlled the fire of heaven and earth in a radius of 10 miles, which was terrifying enough, but now, it is more than 10 miles. Tang Huan's face was extremely ugly. At that time in Donghuang City, it was not Yang Xiaoshan's limit. Is this Yang Xiaoshan's true soul power? Tang Huan looked at the fire of heaven and earth all over the sky and ground, and suddenly felt a sense of despair. He took a deep breath, suppressed his shock, and continued to fly to the hall in front. However, just as he was about to continue to fly to the hall in front, suddenly, 9 groups of red light balls like the sun rushed out of the hall in front. Tang Huan's eyes widened. This is the 9 Yang Wan Xiao pill. Top grade. Chen Yuan's tongue trembled. Refining the top grade 9 Yang Wan Xiao pill is nothing, but the key is that from the condensation of the fire of heaven and earth to the pill, it only takes a few breaths. Yang Xiaoshan only took a breath, and also refined the top grade 9 Yang Wan Xiao pill. How did he do it? A Buddhist student said in horror. He is also a genius in refining medicine. Among the younger generation of Buddhists, his refining level is enough to enter the top 10, but he has never heard of anyone who can refine the top grade 9 Yang Wan Xiao pill in a few breaths. Not to mention 3-star pharmacists. Even 4-star and 5-star pharmacists can't do it. In just a few breaths, Yang Xiaoshan melted all the medicinal materials of the 9 Yang longevity pill. Then in just a few breaths, all the melted medicinal materials were fused into a pill. However, it was simply impossible to melt all the medicinal materials of the 9 Yang longevity pill in just a few breaths. Unless he has reached the state of unity between man and nature. He stuttered. Unity between man and nature. All the students of Foyuan College were shocked. In martial arts, there is unity between man and nature. In medicine, there is also unity between man and nature. Once you achieve unity between man and nature, you can break the shackles and the routine, and create something that is impossible for others to do when refining medicine. Unity between man and nature. Tang Huan muttered to himself, his eyes stagnant. Impossible. This is a state that only the god of medicine can reach. He is only in the emperor realm. How can he reach the state that only the god of medicine can reach? A female disciple of Foyuan College shook her head in shock. This is indeed too incredible. As soon as she finished speaking, she saw the fire of heaven and earth that had just dissipated roaring from the end of the sky again. This time, it was stronger. The fire of heaven and earth, there is no end in sight. Almost all the masters in the entire East Wasteland City saw this terrifying fire of heaven and earth. Everyone in the East Wasteland City looked at the pharmacist's hall at the same time. Who is refining medicine with such a terrifying fire of heaven and earth? Could it be the lord of the hall? When the endless fire of heaven and earth poured into the main hall of the medicine hall, it didn't take long before a sound like the evening bell ringing in the morning came out of the main hall. The hall was shining with green light. Even if the hall was full of palaces, it couldn't block this brilliant green light. Taking UI pill, it's still top grade. Chen Yuan trembled. First it was the top grade dragon and tiger spirit pill, then the top grade 9 yang longevity pill, and now it's the top grade taking UI pill. So what's next? Everyone was trembling in their hearts. Chen Yuan and others looked at Tang Huan. Is there still a competition? Of course they knew what Tang Huan was going to do in the hall. He wanted to compete with Yang Xiaoshan. Let all those who objected to his victory this time shut up. But what about now? Still want to compete? Today in the pharmacist competition, Tang Huan summoned the flame of space and the flame of the sea, and controlled the flame of space and the flame of the sea to refine the Sunyuan Zijindan at the same time. How shocking and amazing it was. However, in the end, the Sunyuan Zijindan refined by Tang Huan was only of the best quality. I don't believe that he can also refine the best Sunyuan Zijindan, Tang Huan said to Chen Yuan and others with gritted teeth, and then he was going to continue flying to the hall. However, just as he was about to fly to the hall, suddenly, the violent fire of heaven and earth rushed into the hall in front again. Chen Yuan and others were shocked when they saw this. Obviously, Yang Xiaoshan still had to take the pharmacist assessment. Then Yang Xiaoshan must refine the Sunyuan Zijindan next. Can Yang Xiaoshan refine the best Sunyuan Zijindan? This was the first thought of everyone. Under the gaze of Chen Yuan and others, the fire of heaven and earth continued to pour into the hall. Chapter 323 Wudi City. Everyone in Chen Yuan became nervous. Even Tang Huan was tense and his heart was beating wildly. He had never been so nervous before. He was even more nervous than when he was in Donghuang City. Time passed very slowly. Suddenly, the hall in front of him burst into purple gold light. In the purple gold light, there were 3 groups of light flowing endlessly. The purple gold light was so dazzling and so dazzling. Tang Huan's face was pale. Top grade Sunyuan purple gold pill. Only the top grade Sunyuan purple gold pill could have such a dazzling light. Everyone in Chen Yuan looked at Tang Huan. Although Tang Huan could also refine the top grade Sunyuan purple gold pill, Yang Xiaoshan just used the fire of heaven and earth, and did not even use the flame of the earth, but he refined the top grade Sunyuan purple gold pill. Moreover, the time Yang Xiaoshan just used was less than 1/10 of Tang Huan's. Who is higher and who is lower? It has long been clear. Tang Huan's clenched fists had completely loosened. Looking at the hall in front of him, he did not even have the courage to take a step forward. There had never been a moment when he was so desperate. He had already lost before the match. He lost. He lost so thoroughly. He even lost without seeing Yang Xiaoshan. He was distraught, his eyes were dull, and he turned and left. Chen Yuan and others looked at Tang Huan, who left in a distraught mood, with mixed feelings. Should we go to the front hall? After a long time, a student from Foyuan College spoke up to break the silence. Chen Yuan took a deep breath and said, let's go to the front hall. He wanted to see what Yang Xiaoshan, who fought 3,000 emperors alone, looked like. After saying that, he flew to the front hall. Other students from Foyuan College also flew to the hall. They were also curious about what Yang Xiaoshan, who condensed 2 divine golden pills, looked like. Now Foyuan is talking about Yang Xiaoshan everywhere, and even said that Yang Xiaoshan is wearing a divine ring on his head and stepping on divine clouds and is extremely handsome. As they approached the hall, Chen Yuan and a dozen people couldn't help but get nervous. Finally, they arrived at the entrance of the hall. I saw the light blue figure standing in the center of the hall. That figure, standing there, had no aura, as if it had completely merged with the surrounding world. When Chen Yuan saw the figure's appearance clearly, he couldn't help but look surprised. It's you. Isn't this the boy they met in the Land of Redemption a few days ago? The Buddhist students with him also recognized Yang Xiaoshan, and were all surprised. He is Yang Xiaoshan? Exclamation mark. Yang Xiaoshan ignored Chen Yuan and others, opened his hand, and the top grade Sunyuan Zijin pill fell in front of the senior deacon of the pharmacist hall. The senior deacon of the pharmacist hall looked at the top grade Sunyuan Zijin pill in front of him, and didn't know how to speak for a while. At this time, Fo Shengji and others had already been stunned by the scene of Yang Xiaoshan refining medicine just now, and stood by the hall like a wooden chicken. In the end, Yang Xiaoshan passed the 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and even 5-star pharmacist assessment. Yang Xiaoshan was too lazy to take the 5-star pharmacist test next time, so this time, he took the 5-star pharmacist test as well. In the Kangshen continent, the pharmacist qualification is universal, and having the identity of a 5-star pharmacist will make things much easier. Finally, the senior deacon of the pharmacist's main hall gave Yang Xiaoshan a 5-star pharmacist's brocade robe and a 5-star pharmacist's medal. Then he arranged a palace accommodation of the highest level for Yang Xiaoshan. Afterwards, Yang Xiaoshan and Mishai and Emozu lived in the palace of the Foyuan pharmacist's main hall. The news that Yang Xiaoshan completed the 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and even 5-star pharmacist tests in the Foyuan pharmacist's main hall in less than an incense stick spread. The whole city of Fo Guang City was shocked. In less than an incense stick, he completed the 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and 5-star pharmacist assessments. Even the medicine saint can't do it. I heard that Yang Xiaoshan has reached the state of unity between heaven and man. Tang Huan was also in the pharmacist hall at the time, but he didn't even have the courage to challenge Yang Xiaoshan. Later, he left in a daze, not even daring to see Yang Xiaoshan. The people in Fo Guang City were talking excitedly. Even many family disciples rushed to the pharmacist hall, shouting Yang Xiaoshan's name and Yang Shen. If it weren't for the masters of the pharmacist hall guarding the gate, I'm afraid these family disciples would have already rushed into the pharmacist hall. In a mansion somewhere in Fo Guang City, Yao Qingsu looked in the direction of the pharmacist hall and said to herself, unity between heaven and man. Unity between heaven and man. The realm she pursued all her life. But now Yang Xiaoshan has already reached it. Yang Xiaoshan has already stood at the peak that she cannot reach. Goddess, do you want to see Yang Xiaoshan? At this time, the maid beside her said, as a goddess, if you want to see Yang Xiaoshan will definitely meet you. Yao Qingsu's mind flashed with Yang Xiaoshan's handsome face, and finally shook her head and said nothing. The night was finally deep. The family disciples who were shouting outside the main hall of the pharmacists also stopped. Yang Xiaoshan left the room, and came to the Thousand Buddha Hall. During the day, there were a few pharmacists who came to the Thousand Buddha Hall, but now it was empty. The Thousand Buddha Hall was very large, and on the walls, there were 1,000 Buddha statues carved, which were lifelike. Yang Xiaoshan glanced at the hall and pondered. Since the god-level elixir was hidden in the Thousand Buddha Hall, it must be hidden in a place that was difficult for everyone to find. He searched around and found nothing. Finally, Yang Xiaoshan's eye stopped on the tripod on the wall. On the wall, in addition to the 1,000 Buddha statues, there was also a tripod, which was carved according to the heavenly Buddha tripod. But it looked very abrupt with the 1,000 Buddhas. Looking at the patterns on the heavenly Buddha cauldron, Yang Xiaoshan thought about it, opened his right hand, and the 1,000 Buddhas divine fire appeared. He put the 1,000 Buddhas divine fire on the heavenly Buddha cauldron with his right hand. Suddenly, the patterns on the heavenly Buddha cauldron surged with light. 2 objects were ejected from the heavenly Buddha cauldron. One was a jade bottle. The other was a hand scroll. Seeing the jade bottle, Yang Xiaoshan was excited. There was no doubt that the divine elixir was inside the jade bottle. He did not open the jade bottle, but read the hand scroll. Yang Xiaoshan glanced through it roughly, and sure enough, the hand scroll recorded the whereabouts of the 1,000 Buddha sword. Wudi City. He read. The 1,000 Buddha sword is in Wudi City. Yang Xiaoshan did not stay for long, put away the elixir and hand scroll, and left the 1,000 Buddha Hall. After returning, Yang Xiaoshan asked the devil ancestor Mishan about Wudi City. Wudi City? Devil ancestor Mishan was surprised, not knowing why Yang Xiaoshan suddenly asked about Wudi City. He said, Wudi City is in Zhangzhou, and was built by the ancient Wu Emperor. Wudi and 1,000 Buddha medicine god are contemporaries. He is also the most amazing emperor in the history of the Foyuan Empire. He is very good at martial arts. It is said that he made a bet with 1,000 Buddha medicine god, and later 1,000 Buddha medicine god lost and left the sword in Wudi City. Some people say that the sword is the 1,000 Buddha divine sword, but I don't know if it is true. Chapter 324, The Yan Family of the 10,000 Gods Empire. Oh, the 1000 Buddha medicine god lost the bet. Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. The 1000 Buddha medicine god was not only very good at medicine, but also very good at martial arts, but he actually lost. Yes. The devil ancestor Mishan nodded and said, as for how he lost, there is no way to find out, but for so many years, no one has been able to find the 1000 Buddha sword. The 1000 Buddha sword should be a rumor. Rumor? Yang Xiaoshan knew that the 1000 Buddha sword was indeed in Wudi City. Young master, do you want to enter Wudi City? The devil ancestor Mishan said. However, Wudi City is only open one day a year. If you want to enter Wudi City, you have to wait for 3 months. Only open one day a year. Yang Xiaoshan was stunned. Yes, Wudi City has many restrictions. Every year, the restrictions will automatically disappear for one day. There are many martial arts engraved by Wudi in the stone tablets and stone walls inside. Mishan Emozu said, on this day every year, many masters will flock to Wudi City to comprehend Wuda's martial arts and magical powers. Yang Xiaoshan estimated that, if he went to the Soul Sea to kill the deep sea demon cunning in the Soul Sea and rushed back, he would be able to catch up with the opening of Wudi City. Mishan Emozu said again, I heard that when Wudi City is opened this time, Emoshan Jianshen will also enter Wudi City with his disciple Wei Zhongyuan. Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. Wei Zhongyuan also entered Wudi City? Young master, be careful when you enter Wudi City. Mishan Emozu said. Yang Xiaoshan nodded. These days, Wei Zhongyuan has been spreading rumors that he will challenge him again and defeat him in the future. Yang Xiaoshan knew it. However, if Wudi City really encounters Wei Zhongyuan, he will make Wei Zhongyuan completely desperate. The next day, before dawn, Yang Xiaoshan and Mishan Emozu left Guang City. Yang Xiaoshan took out the Abyss spaceship and drove it with all his strength to the Soul Sea. In the spaceship, Yang Xiaoshan opened the jade bottle containing the god-level elixir. Suddenly, the divine light of the jade bottle shot up into the sky, and the entire spaceship was illuminated by the divine light. In the jade bottle, there was actually a Buddha sitting cross-legged. A golden Buddha filled with golden Buddha light and divine light. The golden Buddha saw the jade bottle open, and looked up at Yang Xiaoshan. Just one glance made Yang Xiaoshan's soul turbulent, and almost lost himself. Fortunately, Yang Xiaoshan's soul power was strong, and he woke up. Yang Xiaoshan was surprised. He didn't expect that the golden Buddha spirit transformed from this god-level elixir would be so powerful. However, fortunately, there was a ban set by the 1000 Buddha medicine god in the jade bottle, and the other party could not escape. Yang Xiaoshan closed the jade bottle again. This god-level elixir, the golden Buddha divine pill, will be useful to him after he breaks through the saint realm in the future. Then in the spaceship, Yang Xiaoshan practiced the Tangshan sword technique. Now, he has practiced the 47th move of the Tangshan sword technique. There are only 2 moves left before he can fully practice the Tangshan sword technique. When he comes back from the Soul Sea, he will be able to fully practice the Tangshan sword technique. On the spaceship, he practiced the Tangshan sword technique in Thunder of the 9 Heavens in the morning, and in the afternoon he refined the Shian Pincer Neon Zajinden, and looked through the secret book of refining medicine left by the 1000 Buddha's medicine god. At night, he mainly practiced the beginning dragon art. These days, after his black dragon martial soul absorbed the beast soul energy of the Lord of the Abyss, it changed more and more, and its body became bigger almost every day. Moreover, the dragon scales of the black dragon martial soul became more dense and tough, and the dark power around it was rolling like the sea. Compared with the black dragon martial soul, the changes of the black tortoise martial soul were smaller. When Yang Xiaoshan came to the Soul Sea, it was just dawn. The morning sun shone on the surface of the Soul Sea, and the entire Soul Sea seemed to be covered with a golden thin shirt. Yang Xiaoshan put away the spaceship and flew forward with the devil ancestor of destruction, the ice flame Kirin, and the sky blue thunder python. I didn't feel anything outside just now, but as soon as I entered the Soul Sea, I suddenly felt a mysterious power wrapped around me. This mysterious power cannot be touched, but it can be felt. Bingayan Killen explained, this is an invisible soul force formed in the Soul Sea over millions of years. I heard that there was no Soul Sea before ancient times. Later, a peerless strong man killed a soul beast. The blood of this soul beast flowed into this area and merged with the sea water in this area, gradually forming the soul sea. Some people say that this soul beast is not really dead. This invisible soul force in the soul sea is a soul force of this soul beast. Maybe after tens of millions of years, this soul beast will be resurrected. Yang Zai Ocean was very surprised that the soul sea was formed in this way. It's just a legend, not necessarily true. Cheyenne King Thunder Python shook his head. The two continued to fly deeper into the soul sea. Like the soul beast forest, masters can be seen everywhere hunting soul beasts and condensing soul rings for their disciples. However, those who enter the soul beast forest to hunt soul beasts are almost all masters from the Foyan Empire and the empires around Foyan. But the soul sea is different. The masters who enter the soul sea to hunt soul beasts come from the major empires of the Kangshan continent. Wangxiang Empire, Dafan Empire, Futu Empire. Occasionally, when they met some super sect masters of the empire, Bingayan Kilin and Shine King Li Mang would tell Yang Zai Ocean about the power and unique skills of these super sects of the empire, and what Yang Zai Ocean needs to pay attention to if he encounters these super sect masters in the future. Wan Shen Empire, Yan family. Suddenly, Bingayan Kilin looked solemn and looked at the group of masters in front. Yang Zai Ocean was also surprised. There are hundreds of empires in Kangshan continent, and Wan Shen Empire is the strongest empire in Kangshan continent now, without a doubt. He has also heard of Yan family, which is not only one of the strongest families in Wan Shen Empire, but also one of the strongest families in Kangshan continent. Yang Zai Ocean couldn't help but look at the masters of Yan family a few more times. The masters of Yan family were all wearing golden battle robes, which were extremely conspicuous. The few old men in the front had overwhelming divine power, and the aura of each of them was so strong that it overshadowed Bingayan Kilin and Shine King Li Mang. Just as Yang Zai Ocean was observing the masters of the Yan family, a young man from the Yan family said unhappily, "Boy, what are you looking at? If you keep looking, I will dig out your eyes." Yang Zai Ocean frowned. "Boy, do you think I'm kidding you?" The young man from the Yan family looked cold and was about to attack. The Ice Flame Kirin and the Sky Blue Thunder Python looked cold. At this time, an old man from the Yan family said, "Yan Long, don't cause trouble when you are out." The young man from the Yan family stopped. The Yan family flew away and disappeared into the sky. The disciples of the Yan family are really arrogant. The Ice Flame Kirin said coldly. The Sky Blue Thunder Python said in a deep voice, "Since the death of the Lord of Kangshan, the people of the Yan family and the Shen family have become more and more unscrupulous. If it weren't for Lord Kang Xiang, I'm afraid that the Kangshan continent would have been in chaos long ago." Yang Zai Ocean and his companions continued to fly forward. After a while, they met a team of masters wearing purple armor. Each of these people had a very strong aura. When Demon Ancestor Mishan saw this team of masters, he said in awe, "They are disciples of Kangshan Mansion." Then he explained to Yang Zai Ocean, Kangshan Mansion is the force left behind by Lord Kangshan back then. When Yang Zai Ocean heard this, his heart trembled. Chapter 325 Ji Woody can't protect you. Bingayan Kilin and Giant King Thunder Python also looked at the disciples of Kangshan Mansion in front of them with awe. Just now, even when they saw the masters of the Yan family of the 10,000 Gods Empire, Bingayan Kilin and Shine King Thunder Python did not show awe, but now they showed awe. It was because Kangshan Mansion, in a sense, represented the Lord Kangshan of the past, and represented the master of their Kangshan continent. Kangshan Mansion was founded by Lord Kangshan back then. Bingayan Kilin said, "It is also the strongest superpower in our Kangshan continent now." Cheyenne King Thunder Python sighed, "It is also because of Kangshan Mansion and Lord Kangshan that our Kangshan continent is not in chaos." Yang Zai Ocean suddenly asked, "How can I become a disciple of Kangshan Mansion?" If he wants to become the master of Kangshan in the future, he must enter Kangshan Mansion. Bingayan Kilin was startled, then said, "To become a disciple of Kangshan Mansion, you must pass the many assessments and tests of Kangshan Mansion. As long as you pass the assessments and tests of Kangshan Mansion, you can become a disciple of Kangshan Mansion. But there is a prerequisite, you must become a great emperor." Yang Zai Ocean had originally ignited hope, but he was speechless after hearing the last sentence. Great emperor. He is only at the first level of the Emperor realm now, and has not even broken through the second level. He is a full 19 small realms away from the Great Emperor realm. It will probably take several years to break through the Great Emperor realm. Must become a Great Emperor. Yang Xiaoshan asked again, are there any masters in the Emperor realm or the Venerable realm who have joined Kangshan Mansion? Xian King Li Mang shook his head and said, it must be a Great Emperor. No one can make an exception. Even the most amazing genius must reach the Great Emperor realm to participate in the assessments and tests of Kangshan Mansion. Yang Xiaoshan couldn't help but cut off his thoughts. In this case, he can only practice to the Great Emperor realm obediently. Bingayan Kilin said, these disciples of Kangshan Mansion represent Kangshan Mansion. If they don't have strong strength, they can't carry out the tasks of Kangshan Mansion at all. For example, if an ancient demon force appears in a certain empire, it needs to be suppressed. If you don't have strong strength, you can't suppress it at all. So, you must have strong strength. This is why Kangshan Mansion stipulates that only masters above the level of Emperor can participate in the assessment. Yang Xiaoshan nodded. The few people kept flying all the way, constantly flying to the depths of the Soul Sea. Night gradually fell. Yang Xiaoshan and his friends landed on a deserted island, planning to rest for a night and continue their journey tomorrow. The few people found a place with their backs against the mountain wall and then lit a bonfire. Soon, the aroma of barbecue filled the air. The few people chatted while drinking. Bingayan Kilin, Shine King Thunder Python, and Mishayan Emozu introduced Yang Xiaoshan to the situation of the major empires and superpowers in the Kangshan continent. At dawn the next day, Yang Xiaoshan and his friends continued their journey. However, Yang Xiaoshan and his friends had just flown for a short time when they heard shouting and fighting. Yang Xiaoshan looked at the island in front of him. The shouting and fighting sounds came from the island in front of him. They were intermittent. Yang Xiaoshan could not help but fly to the island in front. As he approached the island in front, the fighting and shouting sounds in front became clearer and clearer. We found this spiritual medicine first. Why should we give it to you? A woman's angry voice sounded. Why? Because I'm a disciple of Tangshan divine religion. An arrogant man's voice sounded. Although they hadn't seen what was going on, Yang Xiaoshan and his friends had already guessed it. Hearing that the other party was a disciple of Tangshan divine religion, Yang Xiaoshan could not help but speed up. Soon, they saw that on the mountain of the island in front, 4 men were besieging 2 women. One of the men was wearing the brocade robe of a disciple of Tangshan divine religion. The 2 women were wearing brocade robes of the Xianzang Academy. They were obviously at a disadvantage and their injuries were not light. Seeing that they were disciples of the Xianzang Academy, Yang Xiaoshan shouted, stop. Everyone looked over here and could not help but stop. Yang Xiaoshan and his friends landed on the mountain of the island. The man in the brocade robe of the Tangshan divine religion looked at Yang Xiaoshan and said, boy, do you want to learn how to be a hero and save a beautiful woman? Then he said, I advise you not to meddle in other people's business, otherwise, I will slap you to death. The others laughed. Yang Xiaoshan's eyes turned cold, his figure flashed, and he punched out. The Tangshan divine religion disciple was shocked and wanted to attack, but it was too late. Yang Xiaoshan punched him in the chest, and he was thrown into the air and hit the distant mountain peak, vomiting blood. The others stopped laughing. One of the men said with cold eyes, boy, which empire and family are you from? I'm the young master of the Chen family in Zhongshan of the Foyuan Empire. Our Chen family's ancestor is nearby. I advise you not to meddle in other people's business. As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Xiaoshan punched him in the belly again, and the other person was directly embedded in the mountain wall in front. The faces of the other 2 changed. Yang Xiaoshan walked towards them. I'm Wu Fei, a disciple of Tangshan sect of the Foyuan Empire. The disciple of Tangshan sect who was blown away just now shouted fiercely, you dare to provoke my Tangshan sect, no one can save you. Yang Xiaoshan said coldly, does Tangshan sect have the rules of bullying the weak and robbing other people's treasures? Wu Fei, a disciple of Tangshan sect, said angrily, boy, who do you think you are? How do I, a disciple of Tangshan sect, do I need you to teach me? According to the rules of Tangshan sect, those who bully the weak and rob other people's treasures will have their arms cut off. Yang Xiaoshan swung the burial sky sword in his hand, and a sword light flashed by, and Wu Fei's arms were cut off at the root. Blood gushed out. Wu Fei screamed miserably. Then, Yang Xiaoshan swung the burial sky sword again, and the sword energy was everywhere, and the remaining family disciple was also blown away by the sword energy. You go. Yang Xiaoshan said to the two female disciples of Xianzang Academy. The two woke up and thanked Yang Xiaoshan. Thank you for saving us, young master. Then they left in a panic. Seeing the two female disciples of Xianzang Academy escaping with the elixir, Wu Fei's face was ferocious with pain. He stared at Yang Xiaoshan. Boy, who are you? Xianzang Academy, Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Xiaoshan said. The Tangshan Divine Sect disciples and the other two all changed their faces. The young man in front of them was Yang Xiaoshan of Xianzang Academy. If you want to seek revenge on me, you can come to Xianzang Academy to find me at any time. Yang Xiaoshan said coldly, and left with Bingai and Kilin and the other two. After a while, several figures fell down. It was the ancestors of Tangshan Divine Sect and the ancestors of the Chen family. When they saw the scene, their faces sank. Who is it? Tangshan Divine Sect ancestor Li using Guy who was furious. It's Yang Xiaoshan. Yang Xiaoshan of Xianzang Academy. Wu Fei said angrily. The ancestors of the Chen family were all shocked. Then, Li using Guy who said coldly, so what if Yang Xiaoshan from the Sky Burial Academy dares to hurt someone from the Tangshan Divine Sect? Even Ji Wudi can't protect you. We will go to the Sky Burial Academy in a few days. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.